Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Ring Post Radio, the first of a brand new year. I am your host, Ryan Knightsey, and with me, as always, is the man, the myth, the legend, Scotty Edwards. Scotty, welcome to Ring Post Radio. How are you doing on this fine Wednesday night?
I'm doing great. It's been a long time since you and me have talked. We talked a little bit during the holidays, but for the most part, this is kind of fresh, kind of new. Lots of wrestling to go over. Happy New Year, everyone. Hope you had a great holiday season. Now we're into Wrestle Kingdom season. Well, weekend. It's not really a season. I guess it's just a weekend. But I'm excited nonetheless.
Japanese wrestling season, like big time Japanese wrestling show season.
Big time. Essentially a show every day for the next all week long. We've already had the past couple days. Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to be here. It's been a long time. And yeah, let's get it going. Obviously, if you saw the graphic, a lot of stuff's changed.
Yeah, a lot of big news to talk about, of course. Well, of course, first off, we want to say Happy New Year, everyone listening to the show. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Obviously, typically we do our Sundays. We put out two episodes for you all. We had that one, of course, doing our year in review. We recorded that way too late at night for way too long. Really good conversation, really good topic, people liked it. I'm very happy people liked it. I'm just saying that we lose our minds during it. So just be warned. But it is very good audio. And of course, we got Jeremy Donovan from Keeping It Strong Style joining us for that Wrestle Kingdom, Wrestle Dynasty preview. Now, like with all of those previews, Scotty, things also changed on that card or added to that card. So,
boy.
We're not going to talk about it here, but we're going to talk about it, I guess, in the reviews and whatnot of those matches on Monday. For today, we are going to discuss a lot of, we're going to review a lot of big time shows that have happened. We got, what do we got on the docket? We got AEW World's End, a little cold, but we'll still talk about it. Noah New Year, fresh hot, so hot, happened this morning. Stardom, Dream, Queendom, All Japan's New Year's Eve show. Those are going to be the big four reviews. And if we have time, I guess we'll do some very, very quick thoughts on Final Battle. And I know when you were discussing it on Slack with me, you had like thoughts about Rev Pro. So if we have time, we'll save that.
It was more just a personal thought of like, what are they doing? But
we'll save it. We'll save it if we got time. We'll save it if we got time. But because I also knowing us, World's End, it's going to take 5 hours to discuss an AEW pay-per-view from us. But we got a lot to discuss. So first off, before we get to it, Scotty, how was your holiday season? How was your time off? Did you enjoy chatting with the family? Did you eat a crap ton of candy?
Time off. I didn't have time off. I've been doing more wrestling content these past couple of weeks than I have all year.
This was meant to be a break, and Scotty doubled down.
Yeah. I'm really bad at doubling down. I think I had like 12 things just today alone. Like, sometimes it kicks into gear like, oh, it's the end of the year. Oh, it's time to relax. And I was like, wait a minute, it's the end of the year. I have so many things I have to do. But it was great. It's nice to, see family and do all the holiday stuff that comes with that. And I was really tired the past couple weeks. I don't know if anyone else is there. But every single night I was like, I am beat. I am done. Like, let's just clean it up and go. Like yesterday, obviously New Year's Eve, I was like finishing up some stuff and I'm like, I don't care to see the ball drop or anything like that. Like I'm tired. Yeah. I'm done, But yeah, it's been good, refreshing. I think it's always refreshing to still have the holidays, even though I said I've been working on a bunch of stuff. How was your time away? Because you legitimately went away and
Yeah.
Been gone. You just watched all of wrestling in the past 24 hours, essentially.
Correct. All the shows that we are going to review today, I watched every moment I had from the moment I returned Monday at like 2-3 p.m. maybe.
He even watched Final Battle.
I finished Rev Pro and Uprising, and I found a way to sneak in a Dynamite, 2 collisions with like specific matches chosen, and NXT Deadline. I found a way to get all of that in there. I was looking at NXT. I wanted to watch NXT Deadline because I had some ballot stuff I had to figure out.
Gotcha.
But how was my thing? So, like I said, I basically did nothing. Usually, every
Nice.
year we fly up typically, but this year we had the drive just because we had several weddings this year that cost an arm and a leg to go to celebrate with our friends. It's a glorious time, but obviously we drove up this time, so that's like a 13+ hour drive broken up over 2 days, both ways. Rough
Woo.
stuff. But good time with the family. Had a great time, great Christmas holiday, a lot of fun, cool, interesting. I have a giant stack of wrestling books to the side over here that I received as gifts.
Nice.
I cannot wait to read those.
Nice.
Jesse and I made our Christmas dinner, which was for the first time for us. It was a braised short ribbed where I got hot oil in my eyes. And then New Year's Eve, we celebrated our 8th year in a row, our New Year's Day tradition going to IKEA. So that was this morning. So yeah,
I learned about that tradition today.
Yeah, in the time since I've returned, I've watched all the shows we're going to discuss, plus more. Went to IKEA for several hours. Went to the gym. Walked 2.5 miles separately from the gym. I've done a crap ton, Scotty, and none of it is like count out specific related. It's all like wrestling and then life stuff, trying to work around it. But I figured out a way to get it, so all good from over here on this home front.
You did it for the people.
I did it for the people. Look, I got a job to do. I sat down. I sat down with my wife. I said, "Look, I got a job to do. This is my thing. I got to present to the audience." And she's like, "Hey, I understand. I'll cook you dinner, and you sit at your desk. I'll cook you dinner.
Are
I'll
you
bring
sure
it to
that's
you."
what was said?
No, she offered it first, so I didn't say anything. Because she's a very nice, loving wife. But yeah, we're able to figure it out. I ate too much sugar, and now my throat's super raspy. I ate too much candy, I should say. So I didn't do all of it for the people, but I did most of it as can. With all that being said, let's talk about some wrestling. Why don't we? Because we got a lot to talk about. Yes, Scotty.
I have a curveball for you that you have to decide on by the end of this show.
Perfect. Right. Immediately derailment. That's the Ring Post Radio.
That's what I do, baby. That's why I'm
guarantee.
Here. People don't listen to Ring Post Radio to hear a smooth conversation. Okay, people listen to this podcast for the derailments, the banter, the yelling. That's what we're here for. So it would only be right if less than 10 minutes into the first episode of 2025, I derailed you. From what you wanted to do.
That's fair. That's fair.
This is a planned bit by myself, by the way. So you're welcome. Because you were asking me earlier, did you have a planned bit or something? No, I did. So by the end of this episode, I want you to give me your wrestling New Year's resolution. Thank you. Think about it. Cook it up. We'll talk to you later.
No, that's actually a good thing. I'll think about it. Because last year, if we recall, I did have a New Year's resolution, and that was to go finally work through my YouTube watch later playlist of thousands upon thousands of wrestling. I think around February, I abandoned it.
Sounds like a New Year's resolution as far as I'm concerned.
That's true. That's true. And then by the end of the year, I got into a new cycle of watching new different things, and I have like a checklist of like things I watch. Like,
well, you
I'll
can't
watch
do the
like
same thing.
No, like I have a checklist where it's like I watch old TNA for a week, and then the week after that watch old Ring of Honor, and then the week after that is like catch up, and then week after that is other whatever nonsense.
While watching all the current stuff.
While also watching all the current stuff. While also watching the current stuff and the various Patreon things I'm working on. So it's probably too much stuff. So I have to figure things out. I have to figure things out.
I'm giving you a chance to think for 2 hours about a resolution.
2, probably longer. But yeah,
I don't have that many thoughts on all these shows.
That's fair. Do you have a New Year's wrestling resolution?
No, I was only here to ask a question, not think of one myself. Come on now. Come on.
Now you got. I'll throw it back to you. Now you got a couple hours to figure out something.
Ah, crap. Okay. That's
Yeah,
fair.
you locked yourself in. Okay, let's talk about AEW World's End. This took place a couple days ago, December 28th, 2024, in Orlando, Florida, the Addition Financial Arena, 7,005 in attendance. They stuck in a
5.
family of 5 at the last second. I would argue, honestly, a pretty good show. Albeit maybe there's some issues. If anything, it's maybe a slightly divisive show. At least not on Cage Match. Cage Match has it as like an 8.18 currently as an overall rating. But I have seen like things online from very divisive stuff. So for me, watching the whole show, I thought it was a pretty good show. There was some stuff that definitely certainly dragged, but overall, a pretty good. Am I going to go as far as great? Low level great, because I definitely think there was at least 2 certified classics in this show. But like a low level great, because there are some things that drag it down a little bit. Scotty, what are your thoughts overall of AEW World's End as we go through it?
I have 2 of my lowest rated matches of 2024 on this show.
That is insane. I have I have an idea strongly about what one of them is. I'm pretty confident it's MJF versus Adam Cole. The other one, I don't know. I think there's 2 options maybe, but we'll see. I guess we'll discuss.
Yeah.
So
The
you
show
think
itself was fine. It was a fine show. It was better than last year's World's End, which I don't know if that's a accomplishment per se, because last year's World's End was bad.
this year had a better high end stuff, I think.
For sure. I do think they need to figure out this whole we only do singles matches thing per show. Because it does feel like it get, like you said, it kind of stagnates at times. It's like, all right, we just saw, so let's do another one. Okay, no, I get it. And then it's like singles match. So I thought the crowd also was kind of stinky outside of like 2 matches.
Yeah, I think the crowd was like waves. I think the
Crowd
monotony
was
of a lot
here
of the wrestling.
for Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega. That is who they were there for.
That's true.
Everyone else, yeah, it was a fine show. I don't leave it thinking, oh, AEW is gonna fail, and I don't leave it thinking, oh wow, AEW is in such a better spot than they were before the show, because ultimately, at the end of the day, I hate the world title and everything about it right now. So, yeah, sorry.
Well, let's start there, I guess, with that world title match. Of course, the main event. AEW World Title 4-way match. Jon Moxley defeats Adam Page, Jay White, and Orange Cassidy. 15 minutes, 39 seconds. Real quick. A lot of outside interference, of course, from the Death Riders. Probably should have become more expected. It was a 4-way match. Everything
Never
legal.
say another word about the House of Torture ever again.
Yeah. Hey, look, I agree with you. And obviously there's the match itself, which we'll discuss. And there's also the post-match stuff, which is the return of Adam Copeland. Joining
the savior
up with FTR.
of AEW.
Yes, they were sort of teasing this FTR Death Riders feud for a while. They said they were going to bring in somebody. It was, to me, very obvious I was going to be Adam Copeland. And so they teed it up. So honestly, it teed it up in a way that, based also on like what's happening on Dynamite for the next couple weeks, it feels like that match is happening very shortly, very soon, very quickly. But I guess we'll see what happens there. But otherwise, Scotty, what do you think about the main event, and what do you think about the post-match angle?
I thought the main event was awful. The worst
awful
AEW World Title match I've ever seen.
Really?
I hated this match. Everything about it. No heat, no excitement, and everyone looked like a loser. I hated this. Like, I couldn't believe that they did this after the Continental Classic final. That just instantly hurt it for me.
I'll immediately agree. They should have flipped it. They should have immediately flipped
it. It probably would have been in a better spot, but the crowd was not even there by the time that they had the Ospreay Okada match, which, by the way, was fantastic. We'll talk about that. And then the Omega thing.
I also say, like, they had the Ospreay Okada match, the Omega thing, and right before that was Monet and Chris Statlander, which ended up climaxing into a really good to great match, and then they go into an even better match, and then the crowd just like immediately dumps.
And then it's just like cliff. For me, I I didn't understand the match. It wasn't exciting to me. You had all the run-ins. I don't think the work was all that exciting to begin with. I really didn't enjoy it. It was really upsetting for me
Mhm.
because I like these guys that are in this match. But I don't know, man. Like, and the funny thing is, I went into the show thinking, okay, these are good wrestlers. They could put together a really good 4-way. I'm not a big, multi-man like world title multi-man match, but I have beliefs, and I just don't think it ever came together for me. Um, and I also just think like the parts, like Heyman Page played both a babyface and a heel in this match. I think his handling has been bad. I don't know if this Jay White babyface thing is totally working, but they did like when he hit Marina Shafir with the Blade Runner. And Orange Cassidy, I just saw him in a world title match. So, like, and my thoughts on Orange Cassidy. And then the biggest problem right now for me is Moxley. This isn't the John Moxley that I know can be great. And yeah, that's my real problem. I thought the Edge pop was good and all, but following what it did, the 2 matches previous, plus the return of Kenny Omega, no offense to Edge, it just didn't make sense to me. I thought it was ordered pretty poorly overall.
Yeah, I definitely agree about the main event semi-main event flip. I mean, obviously in hindsight, you should have done that. And even then, I think going into it, I don't know if I said in the preview, but I did have a thoughts at one point in
You
time where it was
did.
like, all right, perfect. Where like I thought the content of the classic match should have been the final. And that was at the time where we're still so far away from the content of the classic, where it's
Yeah,
like
we didn't know
we
who
had no
was
idea what it
gonna
could have
be there.
been. It could have been still obviously Osprey Okada, but
Mhm.
knowing that it is Okada and Osprey, it's like, oh well, then we should have just done that. I like the main event. I definitely sound like more than you. Not a great main event by any stretch. I largely agree with what you're saying. I think ultimately I just thought the work was better than you thought it was. But I largely agree with what you're saying. The Adam Page heel face stuff. It is it's the same issue that I think Jay White is having, where it is
Mm,
two like sort of anti-hero bad guys are being cheered and booed, kind of.
sure.
And it's like the shades of gray stuff isn't fully working here. I
Yeah.
thought Orange Cassidy, for the most part in this match, was kind of a whatever piece,
Yeah.
which was upsetting. And a similar thing of like Orange Cassidy peaked largely with the intercontinental, the continent international title, right? In
Yeah.
that run with Moxley in the main event, and everyone was at that point in time saying, "Okay, now let's put Orange in the main event picture.
Mhm.
Maybe win a world title, right?" And that was what 2021, 2022. At this point, it's like we're so beyond past that.
Yeah.
Orange Cassidy is somebody that like needs a refresh, and I don't think the refresh was putting him with the conglomeration, making him a leader of his own faction. I'm not saying you
Mhm.
turn him heel, you change his gimmick up. Obviously, that works. All that stuff is over. It's just something where, oh, Jeff Bugenhagen, perfect. Thank you for you said in the chat. Orange Cassidy needs to be off TV for like 4 to 6 months. He's so overexposed, it's bad. Yeah, I totally agree. I think a large
The
part of the
Jericho
overexposure
effect.
yeah, I think a large part of the overexposure has to do with the lack of stars, because
Sure.
a lot of them are injured. And I think that's Tony Constantine's Orange Cassidy is a big time star for the company, which to a certain extent he is. But I've always viewed him as an upper mid carder at best, never a world champion. Even when
Mhm.
people were pushing for him to be world champion after that international title run, I was like, I'm not seeing it. Um, but I agree. I think he needs to be sent away a little bit. I think it's
He's
just
on
is what it
TV
is there.
every week and
Yeah,
has been essentially for a 2-year straight span.
and that's nice and all, but like at this point, it's not working. And I think a large part of it as well is that like you had this hot angle with the Death Rider stuff, the Moxley stuff, and then went into Orange
Sure.
Cassidy, and that was a big reason I think it didn't go off of a good start, and he's still around.
Mhm. Yep.
John Moxley. I was thinking about it when I was watching this match, and obviously thinking about it afterwards. I think John Moxley is very. I think Jon Moxley has a lot of great ideas on paper.
Mm.
And I thought about this as well in regards to his first title reign, because the second and third were also like so, jigsawed together with the Punk stuff. I think that Mox has a lot of really great ideas on paper, but the executions of a lot of his ideas leave a lot to the imagination. He just can't get it the next level or think about it correctly. The first title reign, I was not as high, I think, as most people. Because when I think of his first title reign, I think of two things. I think of his title win at Revolution, which felt great, was a great start, and then obviously COVID pandemic, and that's what it is. And then I think of the Jake Hager like Falls Count Anywhere match in Daly's Place that I thought was really bad. Those are the two things I think about when that first title reign.
I didn't even remember that happened.
I think about it all the time. And here
I
we
remember
are.
The Brody Lee match.
But Brody Lee match was pretty good, right? A pretty good, really good match, right? Yeah. And that's the thing. I think Moxley can still put on really good matches. I think his ideas aren't fully put together. And then you have the larger piece on top of that, Scotty, which I think you'll definitely agree with, is that lately, and I think, I don't know who, I mean, Tony Khan is ultimately the person to blame here, because it's, happened with various different people, is that there is this overall issue, especially when it comes to the world title picture, that AEW refuses to pivot on the world title picture when things aren't working.
Yep.
The MJF Cole stuff, this feels like it's not really working. I mean, I think this is working better than MJF Cole for me. This isn't driving me away.
The MJF Cole stuff is very unique because obviously it worked for some people.
True.
But it didn't work for AEW. That makes sense?
Yeah.
This is supposed to work for AEW and isn't. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think, and I think the big problem is that like we all kind of know where we're going, and it's not quite working, and rather than shortening it, they're just staying the course. That was, a group of the undercard guys, and it's really what it is. We talked about this at the time. They're working at it from reverse, right? Like it was at first like a bunch of undercard dudes and Orange Cassidy sort of as the upper mid card leaving the group of whatever dudes against Orange Cassidy. Then it was this match, which is upper card guys for the most part, right? Who all have like anti-hero aspirations, kind of, who are all sort of vying and fighting, not for for AEW, but for the title, right?
Right.
And now the next thing is a old veteran. I think, by the way, Adam Copeland kind of working the Chris Jericho angle, not in terms of like quality or anything, but just sort of like we're opening up to Max and we're trying to attract the olds. I think that's what Adam Copeland's doing. But even though he's not a draw comparatively, I think, I think that like now we're at this point where it's like the veteran who hangs around that really loves AEW with like also a veteran tag team. The veterans are now like stepping in to fight off the Death Riders.
Right.
When we all know like it's gonna be like Darby Allin at the end of this.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be Darby.
And we're just waiting. We're just like waiting. And meanwhile,
we love waiting.
Swerve, Ospreay, all these top guys just like are nowhere to be seen, nowhere to care. I would have thought those, like, if we,
and they're the ones getting the reactions.
Exactly. And
Darby does too, to be fair. But
yeah,
it's just like we're waiting and we're waiting and we're waiting. The thing with Adam Copeland, I think, is kind of funny is like he is the AEW defender. He has been here for like, if you put it between start to injury, like 8 months. Maybe.
Yeah. Despite being in the other company for, I don't know, a couple decades.
So that's kind of funny to me. I also think like there is this problem that people have been pointing out this week. What is Jon Moxley's mission?
Yeah, it's too vague. It's too vague. It's stuff is wrong because it's the weird territory of stuff is wrong with AEW, but he can't specifically say what's wrong with AEW.
Right.
Because the specifics might be too, like needling,
Yeah.
and it might turn
Yeah.
off some fans in the proper way. So he can't be like a full-on heel that needs to be, because they don't make the company look bad.
Right. Yeah, there are some stuff wrong with AEW. It's this entire world title reign. Thank you, John. And I also think that what this title reign is not doing is you are watching, no matter how you feel about Ospreay, you're watching him continuously get the biggest reaction on every show he's on, and plugging into all these matches and these big matches, and obviously that's like why he's there. But it makes you question, why is he not the one holding the world title, right? Like,
Yeah.
because it was handed to you on a platter the moment you signed him. You have the big venue where he's home, right? We talked about this. And yes, it's fine you pivoted to Danielson, but after that, you went with the wrong heel. But we've been over that a million times. I'm not going to go over it again. Now look at Hangman Page. He's just a guy right now. And it's not good. It's not good. I feel like everything that touches this world title feud is not benefiting, and that should be the opposite.
You know
I'm
what's
hopeful.
interesting about the content of the classic stuff as well? They kind of also tied Darby and Osprey up together, and the
Yes.
conventional thinking by exactly what you're describing is abandon Darby completely as the next world title holder, possibly, and fully go with Will Osprey, right?
Yeah.
Like the top guy, getting cheers, getting the audience. He's hot.
To be fair
That
to
can maybe
Darby,
help
he
the company.
he is popular.
He is popular. I'm not saying anything against Darby. Is that Darby is
Going on Mount Everest.
Yeah, well, that's also another part of it.
In case
I love Darby, but he, I think, is probably still an unproven draw, an unproven person at that level of a world title level, right? We literally don't know what it will look like. Osprey is proven. The company is not hot right now. Darby is a great person to have tried in 2022, 2021.
Yeah.
Right now, you need a hot act to hold that title. It's Osprey.
Yeah. Yeah, it's difficult. I know, again, like Darby, I really do think a lot of sense was made to give him the world title when this started. But for me, it's the pushing off that isn't helping him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The more you push off, the more like I become less interested in that. It's just like, all right, just get this belt on Swerve or Osprey at this stage. Because those two are the biggest stars in the company right now. I don't think that's debatable. And I think
Swerve's reactions when I watch like TV interviews where he just like
yeah.
pops in frame, the crowd explodes. Like,
Yeah, we said it when he lost the title. Like, he is that guy now for them. And he, in many ways, one is the face and one is the ace, whatever you want to call it. There's a billion nicknames, but that is what these two are now. And I'm not talking. And who should be the one saving AEW? It should be one of those two. That's what they are in the eyes of the fans. But
real quickly, you just said the right word that teed up a thought in my brain. The ace of the company, it doesn't feel like it's Moxley anymore, right? And I think this storyline, despite years of the company being put on Moxley's back as being the ace of this company, this does not feel like an ace storyline. This does not feel like an ace material. This feels like I am like he is like this feels like
call
not
him
ace.
MJF. Good. I can feel it on the tip of your tongue. Call him MJF. Go ahead.
Oh, it's not MJF. MJF was fucking garbage last year. I don't think this is as bad as that. At least not yet. I still think it's too early, probably, to call that.
But it's not good.
It's not good.
That's the problem.
It's not good. It's not great. I don't think it's awful.
It's not good after the work that Samoa Joe and Swerve did.
Exactly.
Get it back, right? And I think that's the problem.
We're going in the wrong direction.
This reign to me just tells you can't put Jon Moxley back on top ever again.
Sadly, that might be true.
It's happened too many times.
Mhm.
You got lucky you had him all those times, right? But now it's like, okay, no one's really interested in that. I remember when the realization happened for people that Moxley was probably winning this title. They were like, okay, well, he's done it before. He could do it again.
Yeah, he's
It
the
wasn't
ace.
it wasn't
He can rewrite the ship a little bit,
it wasn't like, oh, this is the perfect person to beat Danielson. It was, okay, we believe in him.
Mhm.
We know that he can do this. And I think we're seeing that one too many times is indeed a thing when it comes to him specifically. And it's hard for me to watch him and feel like he's fully invested like he has been in the past too. And that's just me thinking out loud, but I don't know. I'm not enjoying it. And when this is your main story, it's hard. And it happens every time. Like every Dynamite, this happens, right? They'll be doing something good and people will be really liking it. And then the world title stuff comes around and they're like, ugh. Starting to feel like last year. Well, starting to feel like 2023. My apologies.
It is going, like I said, it is actively going in the wrong direction of how 2023.
Yeah. I would pivot as soon as possible.
Yeah. Well, let's go over quickly the
Not
rest of
to
the card.
Edge, by the way. I
No,
don't mean just
Edge
like
is not the right
next person up.
Let's go quickly over the top, back up to the top of the show. Continental Classic, 2 semifinal matches. Will Ospreay defeats Kyle Fletcher in 16:21, and Kazuchika Okada defeats Ricochet in 12:55. Any thoughts on these two matches?
Didn't care much for the Ricochet Okada match. Thought it was pretty by the books.
Sure. I will say
Kyle
this about
Fletcher
the
and
Ricochet.
Ospreay is great though.
I will say this about the Ricochet stuff. I am enjoying the heel turn. I'm actually enjoying what I'm seeing. I think it's helping him in his wrestling. I think it's giving him a new edge that is making him exciting to watch. It's giving him something to do in between the moves because he's obviously slowed down.
Yeah.
So now, because he is getting heat, he can do nonsense in between, like look at the crowd, touch his bald head, yell at people. It's helping, I think, his wrestling, and I am
He almost
enjoying.
killed his goodwill. Like
instantly. Oh yeah.
You saw that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I knew you were away, so I was like, I don't know if you were around for it. I don't want to say the guy's name because but yeah, he almost killed it really quickly. I was like, man, people are starting to like enjoy your character, and you were like, let me. What if I do this?
Look, I'm just hoping that was a repost, retweet, or whatever it was. I'm just hoping that is a. People are starting to like it. Let me go back in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I know it's a tough tough call. But you said Ospreay Fletcher was great. I fully agree. I love this match. Ultimate blood from Ospreay. I thought it was great. Fletcher, I thought killed it. I think this is the best of their, I believe, 3 matches now. On par with the second one, but I think this might edge out a little bit more. I really love this match.
Second over the first one, but that's because I think of the ultimate win for Fletcher. But it's still great. I mean, I'm not nitpicking here. And I thought it was great to set the story for Ospreay's loss later in the night. Because again, I will stress we should probably stop having him lose. But there was at least an effort here as to why he lost, right? He gave the Herculean effort in that final after losing a bucket of blood essentially in the first match, and it was to Okada, so it's okay, right? Because of their history and everything. So yeah, I mean this was a home run to open the show. And so I sent you twice, right? These stocks, right?
Yes, you sent me 2 emojis of stocks going down.
So it's because this started the show, started at a high, and as the show went on, it was like dripping down until you got to Adam Cole and MJF and just hit rock bottom. And then the second one I sent you was just in the main event. Like it went from here to instantly. I was just like, man, I didn't want to spoil anything. Yeah, but I like the Continental Classic being told throughout one night. I think that was a great change.
Yeah.
And I'm hopeful they keep that. They just need to that if you're gonna do 3 guaranteed tournament singles matches, though, you gotta have different stuff on the show, which is, a
Yeah.
tag title match, even. Like we didn't even have one of those.
Yeah, and if I recall correctly, the tag titles held by Private Party, they had some sort of like number one contenders tag match
Yeah,
between Top
they're
Flight
having the
and
match on Saturday.
yeah. Why not just have it on this show? It was on Collision, or I believe, right? The week before World's End. Why not just have it on this pay per view?
Sure.
I don't
Fine
know. I
idea.
could cut. I mean, I would cut probably Takeshita versus Hobbs. I really like the match, but like that was built up
It
out of
could have been
nowhere.
it could have been a TV match.
Yeah, that could have easily been a TV like main
Could
event
have
kind
been
of match.
Fight for the Fallen.
Mm-hmm.
You wanna
Yeah,
bolster that with a title match,
yeah, I think that's fine. Like that doesn't necessarily need to be here, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's whatever. AEW Women's World Title match, Tijuana Street Fight. Mariah May defeats Thunder Rosa. I think there's several big problems with this match. One of which is this match begged for blood, and because of the buckets of blood earlier, they did not go with blood here, and it
No.
just didn't work whatsoever.
Yeah, it was weird. I thought it was okay at best.
Same.
And I do think it just was missing like a level to it. Watching it, I was like, this is just a match
Yeah.
with plunder. It was a WWE plunder match.
Yep. It was whatever. It's the
Which
continuation of the Mariah May stuff. It's just
yeah.
whatever.
Both of their world titles don't feel like world titles right now.
No,
That's bad.
But
That's
at least
bad.
the women,
Different
women's have.
reasons. The women's have a world title. It's just not the world title.
Yes, the men's doesn't really,
Well, the
doesn't really
Continental
have it.
Classic made up for it, at least. Like, oh, this is the biggest thing right now, right? The
Sure.
biggest prize everyone's fighting for. But yeah, they don't have a title that's replacing it, which I guess is a good thing in some ways, right? You're not replacing your world title, but you're lacking one.
Yeah.
Legitimately, like I don't even see the world title. So also, I think that's just a bad gimmick, by the way. Like,
What?
oh, you can't see the world title. It's in a briefcase. All right, man. Sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that like we're all waiting for Tony Storm in Australia.
I'm not.
Again, it's the same thing that we talked about.
I didn't ask for the amnesia angle.
Yeah, well, that's a whole nother story. But it's the same issue with the men's world title. Is that we want to tell the story, and we are not going to pull away from the story until it's fully told.
Mm-hmm.
And
the women's have two problems, to be fair. That
sure,
and the fact that their mid-card champion is who she is. She just feels bigger in every way.
But that's not a problem. I don't see that as I see that as a good thing. All of your champions should be over to a good level. Like all these things.
What I mean by is it always goes last out of the women's matches on a pay-per-view. This is your world title.
Who cares? That's not a problem.
It makes the world title look bad.
Oh yeah, Mariah May's wrestling and her promo skills also makes the world title look bad.
But
if she was a better wrestler,
up.
If she was a better wrestler, then it wouldn't be as big of a deal compared to Mercedes Moné. If it was on a Willow Nightingale, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
But it's not.
My issue is it's
we
Mariah.
Could be
not
having this conversation.
But that's my point. It's not Moné, it's Mariah. She's the issue here.
Oh, I was not calling Moné an issue. I'm calling her a solution to their world title if they really wanted it to be. Mm-hmm. My thing is, she just feels like the world champion of the company. I am not saying anything bad about Mercedes Moné. She is a very good thing for this company. Mm-hmm. It's just, it helps in hurting the world title, which, has missed multiple pay-per-views since Mariah has become champion as well. So that's not great either.
Yeah.
Nothing about this. It's you're building to Tony Storm, so we must stay on track. When honestly, it took like a month to know this should not stay on track.
Agreed. Totally agreed.
We were in agreement. We just miscombobulate. I was not blaming Mercedes. It's more of, it's just an added factor of,
Yeah.
and while the world champion is not feeling like a world champion, it's kind of hurting that the other one is, because you have Chris challenging her, and I don't know who before that, but the double Chris matches alone, like that felt like the world title, right? We talked about this with Chris Statlander after the Willow match. Oh, her direction should be the world title. She beat Willow, but no, that couldn't be the direction. So she went for the TBS, something she's already won before. That's kind of what I mean of that feels like the world title, while we get a random Thunder Rosa match and kind of the whatever the Mina thing was, which was rushed to begin with. And
yeah, I think I will say this. This is why I think the Monet having the title and being a big enough star to have the TBS title is I'm thankful for that, because
for sure, if there was no
it
Monet,
would be so bad. It would be so bad right now.
Absolutely.
And we'll get to her because she's turned things around lately, which is really good.
I told you on that year-end show, the things were, it was a flip.
Yeah.
And she has flipped it.
Yeah, I think Mariah May, we knew it at the very latest Mina Shirakawa. I mean, we knew it earlier than that, but the Mina Shirakawa was like, okay, we got to reverse this.
None of that made sense. No.
Yeah, the reverse there was, don't do the amnesia angle, just have timeless Tony Storm come back, and let's build to World's End and have the title.
And do we even know if Tony's going to win?
That's a great question.
Like, we're just building to that match, but like, I don't want Tony as champion again either.
Yeah.
I want Chris Statlander or Willow as champion.
Yes. Again, that's a great point.
Rush the Willow thing.
That's a great point. I don't know. Because then what? Like, we just do it again? Timeless Tony Storm?
So you see
Willow and Chris are just waiting in the wings.
Like, we can blame, like, people can blame Mariah for not having a good reign. That's fine. But she's not getting help here either. Like, again, when she has her moments, she's not, like, I don't think she's necessarily shined. But still, like, we are at a point here where we're like, oh, well, this person should be challenging for the title. And they're not. They're just, the Willow one was so rushed. That match still pisses me off.
Yeah, it was a rushed
match, but like,
yeah, this whole thing is frustrating. The whole thing is frustrating. Let's move on.
Thank God for Mercedes Monet.
Agreed. Dynamite Diamond Ring final match. MJF defeats Adam Cole. MJF again, 5th year in a row, 6th year in a row. Who knows? Who cares?
Who cares?
Yeah, I know. I can't
believe selling Dynamite Diamond Ring replicas.
Oh, they did? Okay, that's a good thing. I'll say that's a good thing. They should have been doing that for years.
5 years.
But at the same time, who the hell's going to buy it? Because this thing doesn't matter. It's just a thing MJF wears. Why are we even doing these battle royals anymore? I understand that's the legacy, but it's like this shit literally doesn't matter anymore. Yeah, this was a Cody idea many moons ago.
Because he did the ring thing in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
He's gone. You can get rid of it.
I know.
I don't think he's going to lose sleep over it, folks.
It's so annoying. It's so annoying. That's separate from that is this match itself, which, I thought the work wasn't that great to begin with. I think Adam Cole is. I've never really gotten into Adam Cole fully, especially when I got into AEW. But he's the same. The biggest problem with him is that he's been the same for like a decade. He's like the antithesis of Chris Jericho. He never changes anything. And it's so frustrating to watch. MJF rough here. And then you have the crowd who I guess is into the match, but completely cheering and booing the wrong people. So this whole thing did not work at all for me. Scotty, I know you hated it. Go off, King, as the kids say.
Awful match. I was watching this and I'm like, why am I wasting my time here? I should have went and like got a snack. I don't know. Went to the bathroom for a long time and just sat there in sadness that I picked to watch this instead of something else with my life. This was terrible. I don't even know why I didn't give it a dud. I didn't. I gave it a quarter. But I should have just gave it a dud because I enjoyed none of it. Like, there was nothing good about this match for me. The blood was forced.
Yeah.
I watched them start bleeding, and I was like, "Why are they bleeding? Like,
Yeah.
what's the point of this?"
If you swap this with the Mariah May Thunder Rosa match and then didn't do blood here and did blood in that, then I would have been
It would have been
better.
perfect. Would have
Yeah.
benefited. I think it would have benefited both matches.
This is
But
this
yeah,
is a
this
match that is a
didn't matter.
blood feud that had a match that did not need blood.
Adam Cole, bless his heart, a guy that I was once a real fan of. He is not good. He is bad.
He's a
And
guy
guess
that
what?
like needs a drastic change. And the biggest when I was watching him, I was like, what's a big drastic change I could do to Adam Cole? And I was like, should maybe Vince was right. Maybe we should shave his head. Maybe he should be a manager. Like maybe like let's just change it up completely because this guy's in the same. Maybe Vince was right.
So before we dunk too much more on Adam Cole, I do need to dunk on MJF. He's terrible. Like just there was a conversation on Twitter this week because I think it was Ebu that said like, you know, AEW and MJF have grown apart in making sense for each other. And I was like, yeah, I've been saying that. I said they're gonna regret re-signing him. He hurts the product more than he helps it because he doesn't belong in he doesn't fit the AEW mindset. Does that make sense?
He did
Obviously,
at one point.
He did at one point, and then the two people that control him left.
Yeah.
We've been over this, right? There's no one that controls him. He just goes off and does his Triple H impersonation, which is, I'd argue, the worst person to impersonate to be interesting. But that's just me. I don't enjoy this. I don't enjoy MJF. And when I say the Triple H impersonation, I mean like Reign of Terror Triple H, the Triple H that no one liked, by the way. That one specifically. I don't enjoy anything about this match. I thought the post-match angle stunk. Who cares about the Undisputed Era, man? No one cares.
Yeah.
No one. Like, I don't need WWE fans to like hear the Triple H thing. Like, you don't like Triple H? I'm talking about the wrestler, Reign of Terror, okay? But no,
it's called Reign of Terror for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. And to talk about the Undisputed Era, this was done in 2019. Now it's 2025, and they have reformed for the 19th time. I don't understand it. The only good thing about this, and I don't even know if it's going to happen, is that Roddy and Kyle O'Reilly might be a tag team again. That's the only slight benefit that I can find. Because listen, I'm someone that's trying to find benefits out of this, okay? That's what I'm here to do. I don't even know if that's going to happen. Roderick Strong is in a triple threat tonight. Sorry, I called it a triple threat. Get over it. He's in a three-way match. Whatever. But my point stands. None of this is good. Who wants the Undisputed Era? The Kingdom is getting dragged down because of this. The Roderick Strongs and Kyle O'Reilly are getting dragged down because of this. And MJF and Adam Cole, I was done with them in 2023.
Yeah.
Instead, we're continuing it into 2025.
Yeah, the worst part is exactly what you just said. Continuing into 2025. That post-match angle did not read to me as this is over. It reads to me as MJF now needs a bunch of buddies to team with him to take on this group. And I'm like, I'm so done. I'm so done. I don't want to watch this shit anymore. It's awful.
So bad,
it's awful. It's so boring.
So I'm going to tell you now, I haven't watched a single one of their TV segments in weeks.
That's fine. I don't blame you.
And I missed nothing.
You just fucking, it's the WWE thing too, because you just watch the like pre-match video and you're like, okay, I knew what happened here. Let's get to the match.
It is so WWE, and not like current WWE, like Vince run WWE.
Okay, I was thinking about this when I was going to bed last night about how WWE has now become like they're still very much WWE, but they have changed themselves a lot, right? And they are more like AEW a couple years ago than they were, WWE several years ago, right? They've changed a lot. That's a big, significant change of the Triple H era, the TKO era. And I was thinking about just like, how it feels like WWE has just more so become like that 2018, 2019 WWE period. And it's just like, well, if their goal is to be alternative, what happens when the competition changes and you still have to be an alternative to what that is? So when I was like, WWE, the best thing WWE could do to hurt AEW is, you know what? Just the classic phrase, the best defense is a great offense. WWE got offensive in changing their own program, changing their own style, obviously forced to. And what it has done, it has forced AEW to change and still be alternative to good wrestling in a lot of ways. And the matches are still good, I guess, in AEW, but the storylines and everything here not that great. And then you have this match, MJF Adam Cole, which is just the embodiment of that idea, which is just, like we said, the drizzling shits. Anyways, we're stuck with them for the time being. Konosuke Takeshita defeats Powerhouse Hobbs, AEW International title, 15 minutes and 34 seconds. I thought this was a pretty nice match. Just a solid beef on beef action. Just sort of nice little bow, I think, on Konosuke Takeshita's year this year.
Yeah, a little bit of beef. Never hurt anyone. I have no complaints about this. I have nothing. I don't really have too much to say about it. Anyways, I thought it was a good match.
For whatever reason, the meat chance and everything reminded me of that Miro was on the show last year, and he has not wrestled a single thing. Not even appeared once since that match.
Yep, him versus Andrade. Yeah. True classic.
True classic. Mercedes Moné defeats Chris Statlander, 24 minutes and 35 seconds to retain the TBS title. Scotty?
This was very, very good. These two have great chemistry. I said it on our last episode that Mercedes had turned the corner with that Hazuki match, with the Chris one before that. We saw her turn the corner that we've been waiting for, right?
And Jay was better than expected as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that's the one I did point out. Thank you. Thank you for being better at remembering the things I say than I am, Dab. I think she has returned to the I'm going to lift you up with me. Or if I'm in there with someone that is at my level, or arguably better, no offense to Mercedes Moné, but Hazuki's kind of,
Yeah.
She does it, she just does it.
The term we've gimmicked here, the elevator.
Yes, she's back. She's back. This match was great. The drama was there. The crowd was into it. Chris is awesome, man. Like I don't need to give Mercedes Moné praise as much because I have done it the past couple weeks a lot. But Chris is awesome. Chris should have went from that Willow thing to the world title and won. 100%. Because at that point, then there's just two obvious places for Willow to then win a title from. Just saying. It's a shame that Chris, who has been in this company for so long, has just one title reign to her name. That was the takeaway. I know she had the knee injuries and things, but she has been good to go for a long time now, and she is crushing it. Mercedes Moné, I finished watching this match, was like, just give her the world title and the TBS title. Like, who cares? Like, just give her all the belts. I think she's going to do a belt collector gimmick in this new year anyways. I think she's going to get the Rev Pro one, get the
which Rev Pro is technically two. The Rev Pro is technically two titles still.
So it'll be 4 belts, and then you can get one more after that. And then that's just a lot of belts. It's a good thing, right? And it looks good for her. And ever since she dropped Camille, like the pivot just happened for her in every single way.
Once they dropped that anchor of a story, that albatross of a story, they immediately were like, okay, here we go. Let's just have her wrestle and not do this weird story stuff. Just have her wrestle. Immediately started working. Yeah,
it's great to see. This was a good show to look at, right? We said it on the year-end podcast. I was like, those 3 signings, This was the show where it's like, yeah, those 3 signings, there's a reason we made those 3 signings.
And of course,
It
that
took a
brings us.
long time to get that out of one of them,
Yeah.
but we got there.
Yeah, like I said, that brings us to the finals of the Continental Classic match, which is, of course, for the Continental title. Kazuchika Okada defeats Will Ospreay, 19 minutes, 12 seconds. Great match. Great match.
Oh, that was
Okada and
excellent.
Ospreay of old. I thought the stretch in there was solid, but like, you know, a little draggy. I think it was Okada's control segment, but that, like, again, once that the last like 5 minutes of action is like prime New Japan Ospreay Okada stuff. And I was like, yes, there's more of this, more of this.
When they had their G1 final a couple years ago, that was for me a 5-star match. This wasn't a 5-star match, but it reminded me of that. Just reminded me of what those two can do when they're in the ring. You watched Okada literally flip a switch within the single night.
Yeah.
He went from I'll just do whatever with Ricochet to, oh, I like this guy, let's do this. And he hit like the best drop kick of his AEW run. He was Okada. It's been a long time since I could say he was Okada, right? And they perfectly nailed the story of like the bloodied Ospreay, and he's weakened, and I thought he did a great job throughout the match of selling that once in a while, like going for the Styles Clash and just having like a little like woozy thing, still hitting it, just like those little things you want to see. I don't love Ospreay having to get pinned again. I'd like to think that after this, he's done getting pinned for a very long time, assuming him and Kyle probably go at it one more time in a big blow-off match, probably in Australia, where Kyle's from. He's from Australia, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense for those two. Have a big blow-off match where Ospreay just moves on and, honestly pivot him to the world title or something. And with Okada, we know his destination, and he was very happy to know what his destination is. You can see a big smile on his face. He was like, oh, we get to do this again. Okay, now this is why I'm here, folks. I wasn't here for anything else. I'm here for that guy right there. That's essentially what I saw in the post-match. Was like, this is why Okada's here. He could besides the money. He could care less about any other wrestler they make him face. Except for Ospreay, which he's faced many times, but he knows he can do that magic. And of course, Mr. Kenny Omega.
Yeah, obviously the post-match, Christopher Daniels announces that he's no longer an EVP, whatever, who gives a shit.
Biggest pop of the night for me.
Kenny Omega, followed up by an even bigger pop. Kenny Omega makes his triumphant return in AEW, gives the belt, the Continental title belt, to Okada. They have a stare down, very much teasing a future match.
All in the background specifically. It's a lot of time to get there, but that's the venue you want that match to happen at, right? You want that big signature match. And you know how I said like Mercedes Moné kind of feels like the world champion? If this world title stuff doesn't change, that's gonna feel like the world title match.
I think that's plausible. The problem is that I think I'm officially going to say Okada's not a TV wrestler, and there's going to be a lot of TV between now and then.
No, he's not a TV wrestler. Just like he wasn't a live event New Japan wrestler. He's a big match wrestler. He always will be. Because that will be a big match.
Not just like the big match stuff, but long matches. Obviously this is nearly 20 minutes, but I was just sort of thinking about like, TV wrestlers, like he's not going to be able to do 20 minutes all the time. He's going to do like 15 to 10. And this guy is famous for having long, great matches, and was one of the guys that really like executed on that style perfectly. So I don't think we're ever going to get great matches out of a TV Okada. We're only going to get
your
that
best bet for TV match style is to put him in tags.
Probably. That's probably true. Yeah.
When him and the Elite formed, I thought that's what we were going to do, but let's not get into that.
Yeah. So yeah. Do we have any?
I'm happy Kenny's back. By the way, I just want to stress this. Needed, and specifically need to push him at a high level at all times.
Yeah,
golden lovers, no golden jets. I'm not worried about that one. But
I don't think that's happening.
Just Kenny.
Yeah.
Just Kenny. Make him
I
be
totally
a
agree.
god again.
I totally agree. Okada, Omega, obviously down the stretch. I'm excited to see what that looks like.
Crazy.
Um,
Crazy to
I,
think about.
Looking at the next big thing is Australia, right? That's the next big show for AEW. You said Fletcher Osprey. I will push back slightly. I think a thing that makes sense there, honestly, maybe too far away. No, it's February, right?
Yeah.
Is Fletcher Mark Davis? As
That
sort
could
of makes
work.
sense to me.
Mhm.
And I think for me, I want to do Osprey Mox there, honestly.
Well, they're not. They're gonna do Edge there.
I hope not. Well, the
Because
Edge, I'm
they're
not
definitely
sure
doing
what they're
Edge
doing.
there because they're doing Maximum Carnage world title match.
In Cincinnati, Ohio, right? I
Yeah.
I would do the Adam Copeland thing there. I would have Copeland win
I guess
the
he could be in the
casino.
gauntlet. Yeah.
Yeah, he can win the gauntlet. And then because the gauntlet's next week, and then the week after that
Sure.
is the
That's possible.
maximum carnage, right? So I
Yeah.
would
I
have
guess we don't
Copeland.
have to assume.
Yeah, I have Copeland win the casino gauntlet, have a similar Christian Cage-esque title opportunity thing, face Moxley at Maximum Carnage, lose. Uh and then
So do
do
you want him to lose? You want Osprey to lose to Moxley because he ain't beating him.
no, I want Osprey to win that.
I know, but you know they're not going to pivot.
I know.
Revolution's right there.
I know. Revolution's right there, but it would also be the big match that could possibly give this some juice in the fourth quarter of the
That's true.
storyline. And also it's a big time star that you need to
I've been
sell a
wondering
big
if they
time
do
arena for.
swerves in that.
Swerve's not bad too. I just don't see how Swerve will get there needing, knowing that the Hurt Business stuff.
Sure.
Like if anything, it's going to be Bobby Lashley versus Swerve,
Swerve versus Ricochet. Also, kind of heat up.
I'll pass. Because you could also do the
Well,
Adam
Swerve's
Copeland.
good.
Yeah. But no, I agree. I got the Ricochet. I think the other thing I could see happening is the Adam Copeland World Title match, Maximum Carnage, and then at Australia you can do Death Riders versus Rated FTR for the trios titles and have them win there. I think that also makes sense to me.
Does make sense.
So we'll see. Yeah, there's also there's the Bobby Lashley Swerve stuff, which I think is happening over in the background, and I don't necessarily want to include that into the Death Rider stuff yet. But especially because I don't think Hurt Business fits in it fully right now.
You know what makes this really difficult for them?
What's that?
Them being AEW. This is all happening during WrestleMania season. So,
Yeah,
it's not a direct thing, but WrestleMania season's the worst time to try to build anything hot. And obviously, Darby winning, presumably, is supposed to be the big hot thing at the end of all this. And I just
yeah, because I am pitching also, by the way, that Osprey loses at a big time show again, and because we're both in the consensus that it should be Mox and Darby at Revolution.
it will be, I'm sure.
Yeah,
1 year after the Sting thing.
Yeah, so it's just a sort of the boat that we're in of look, I just need a big time match that helps juice me up.
I don't know where you go with Osprey. If we assume the Fletcher stuff is done, which may be a wrong assumption at the moment, but let's assume that's done for now. I don't know where he goes besides the world title.
He can face Takeshita, but I think that's too close to the Fletcher things. He obviously needs a new something.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I just don't know exactly what that is. We'll see what happens.
I'm done talking about AEW.
Me as well. We'll talk about more AEW at another place and time. Let's talk about Noah, the new year. This was the Noah show that took place, the New Year's Day show. Took place this morning, actually. New Year's Day, January 1st, 2025. Our first review of a 2025 show in Nippon Budokan in Tokyo, Japan. Scotty, right before we go, I didn't ask you beforehand. How much of the show did you watch? I was only able to watch the top 4 matches.
I watched so much of this show.
So we'll walk through the whole thing then?
From the Vegeta singles match on, I watched.
Okay, perfect. We'll start there then. So,
Matsumoto was in the Battle Royal. Shouts out.
Yes.
So
So
would
we'll just
be-
do this real
yep.
quick. Battle Royal match. Tadasuke wins that match. I believe that match is they get the challenge for a title. I believe of their choosing. I believe that's what the result was, but I don't quite remember. GC Junior Heavyweight Tag Team title. Hayata and Yohei retain. And then the 8-man tag team match. Katoge, Go Shiozaki, Ohara, Muhammad Yone defeat Black Metal Ray, Fujita, Endo, and Ishikawa. I believe also Go Shiozaki announced that he's going to be taking a leave of absence from Noah shortly. I don't know if you heard that, Scotty. I saw
He's
that.
going to be for a short amount of time, or just
I believe a short amount of time. I also heard like
okay.
other rumors regarding Go Shiozaki and the Sahoran guy, but
Oh well, they don't like each other. There you go.
mhm. So that could be part
That's
of it.
why Limit Break exists.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like each other, and that's how they're keeping him in Noah, is not having him take part in anything he does with no sound.
Mm-hmm. Well, after the 8-man tag team match, Kazuyuki Fujita stayed, and they had a time limit 1-minute draw with Daiki Odashima. Scotty, what is this?
This
What
match is
happened?
beast. That's what this was. This guy. What? Hold on. What's his
Daiki
name?
Odashima?
Daiki Odashima did the Fujita punt to Fujita. It was real. It was a sick minute, and then Fujita fucking murdered him. But
because he is a young lion, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
yeah, he was a young lion. Well, they don't do young lions. He's a rookie, full of piss and vinegar. Ran in there, fought his ass off, avoided the punt, punted him back, and then got absolutely decapitated with the clothesline. But it was a fun minute, and he survived.
But he survived the minute.
He survived, and then he got power bombed as the bell rang and laid there for a while. But yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
That's good. I'll definitely check it out then. Next up, Galena Demal defeats El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. in sub 10 minutes. A result that we both obviously thought was going to happen, as Dr. Wagner Jr. appears to be leaving Noah right now. Galena Demal beats him, but doesn't look like it was a good match based on cage match ratings. What did you think of it?
Yeah, it was okay at best. Not what you would hope out of these two, right? You have high hopes for Galeno Del Mal now post Wagner to step up. Wasn't his best showing. Wagner was fine. It didn't have. I don't think it had the time to really shine, and at the same time, I also think it didn't have the excitement you would expect out of these two. So it was a real letdown. Probably my biggest letdown on the show.
That definitely does not sound exciting. What was missing? Was it like a Galena Demal thing where there's like he's kind of running the show and it didn't quite work, or is Wagner just
that's probably more of it.
Being a Kano issue, sort of with that match.
Yeah, he was trying to let Galeno shine. I just don't think the shine was there much, and then it ended abruptly. Like as it got going, it ended.
That sucks. So that sucks to hear.
It was a real bummer.
Singles match, special singles match. Kano versus Kenta, his lover. Yeah. 15 minutes, 24 seconds. Kenta gets the win. Did Noah Kenta return?
He did. It's really weird with Kenta now because he can't get to that. Like his body won't let him.
Sure.
But I watched this and enjoyed it. Like I had a good time with it. I thought Kenta did everything he could to get to that level, despite his body telling him no. They slapped each other in the face. They kicks on one another. I thought it was a good match. I know some people didn't love it because they wanted Kenta to be Kenta. He's just not that guy anymore. But he was more exciting to me in this match than he has been in a long time. So for that, I'll take it. Honestly, I'm pretty sure it's like the second highest rated match of the show for me, which isn't saying a lot. It's only 3.25, but I did enjoy it.
Kenta, 43 years old, by the way.
Yeah, but that's those surgeries, man. Those surgeries crushed him.
GC Junior Heavyweight title match, best 2 out of 3 falls. Aita defeats Daga to win the Junior Heavyweight title.
The third fall was good. The first two falls were bad, so it was a bad mix. It was it was a Noah Junior title match.
Yeah,
Must I
that's
say more?
disappointing. And I believe it was Yohei that came out afterwards and challenged Aita.
I think they're doing Hayata
Oh,
too.
okay, I couldn't remember if it was
They're doing both.
Yohei or Hayata. I just knew it was one of them.
I didn't watch post match because I was just trying to get through the show, but I know someone tweeted Hayata was doing a challenge soon. So if he's not next, he's coming,
Great, great,
as
great,
he
great.
always does.
Yeah. GHC national title match. This is where I can rejoin you on this review, Scotty. Manabu Soya.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, indeed. And what a time to be back. I thought this match was pretty good. Not a blow away or anything, but like pretty good. A beefy outing between two beef boys. I think I did 3.25. So basically the same. I thought it was pretty solid for what it was. You know, I've been enjoying Soya this year. An underrated aspect.
Man. Like, this is ridiculous.
Well, Masakimiya, you know, I've given up on them doing anything with Masakimiya because at the end of the day, he's the trainer, and they're never going to do anything with this guy when he's a trainer. So it's just one of those things of like, it is what it is. It fully is what it is. I agree. I tend to agree here.
Whatever. It's fine. I didn't have it was fine. It was exactly what I expected the low budget of this would be. When I say low budget, I mean they had a high that they could have reached and they had a low. This was their low, unfortunately, but it was a fine match. Nothing you'll watch and feel like, wow, I wasted my time with that. No, it was fine.
Yeah, totally. You know, if you have the time, watch it. GHC tag team title match. Team 2000X, the team of Jack Morris. And at the time, we had no idea who Lover was going to be here, Scotty. And it was, in fact, WWE's Omos.
Yeah! Yeah!
The 7'3" tall giant in WWE teamed up with Jack Morris and won the GHC tag team titles by defeating Naomichi Marufuji and Takesha Sugiura. I
asked for a monster, and I got a monster. He was the only good part about this match. Marufuji stunk. Jack Morris did a frog splash off of Omos, and that was cool.
That ruled. Real twisted bliss action with
Here, you know what my hot take is? They're gonna be a good duo. Omos, when he went for the finishing stretch, aka murdered Marufuji, I was like, yes, that's how you do it. He killed him. He didn't take a single bump. This is how you do it. Noah's gonna keep him for a long time and just run with him. Do whatever you want with him.
Not just did he win the tag titles, he's like part of this faction now.
Yeah, he sure is.
Which, by the way, maybe there's a meta conversation to have about a WWE wrestler is a part of a Noah faction that is, spoilers, part of the main event title picture. So maybe there's concerns there in terms of a WWE relationship profile, but
as has been rumored, it was kind of a transaction made. So he's not going anywhere.
Oh, you think the transaction made is maybe a Yoichi, maybe?
Yeah, it seems like that was a trade. And honestly, I think Noah won. They're going to get way more out of Omos than WWE is going to get out of Yoichi.
That might be true. I mean, well, I guess it remains to be seen fully because, you know, this match almost never took a bump. Totally fine. He shouldn't be taking bumps. But it was one of those things of like, and this is sort of my concern is that like, they don't really have giants in Noah, so it's like I don't know if they know how to like work any sort of style in regards to that. But they had Sugiura Marufuji work it, and I don't think they necessarily were bad here or anything in terms of working against Omos. Yeah. They did exactly what they needed to do. They put over Omos as a giant, and they made Sugiura and Marufuji and like get crushed by him.
Marufuji. That choke bomb was great.
It succeeded in putting over Omos.
The match was not good, by the way. I just want to say this. The match itself was not actually good, but Omos, for what he is there for, did everything. I'm not even kidding. Love the guy. Because I saw this guy show up and do all the Japan stuff that they've done, right? Like they had him walking on on the street and
Yeah.
being taller than everyone and hitting his head against the ceiling and all these things. I'm like, they have an attraction. That
Yeah.
is what Omos is moving forward. And if he happens to get better, then it's a win. If he doesn't, if he doesn't, he's an attraction. So it's fine.
Yeah, I fully agree. He's an attraction at the end of the day, and they're using him as an attraction. Yeah, I think you're right. The match isn't great, but it nails putting over Omos as a threat and an attraction and a giant. So fine.
And Jack Morris gets a belt out of it.
Woo!
If
Another
you
belt,
thought when we
tag team
interviewed
title
Jack
win.
Morris, right, that he would be teaming with Omos and it wouldn't be in WWE.
Yeah, the thing, and also the other thing about that is that he's teaming with a WWE signed wrestler potentially. Transaction pending. We'll see.
He's a WWE signed wrestler. They reference him as WWE.
Yeah, but this idea of like Jack Morris is going to have so many WWE eyes on him now because of this. Yeah. This guy is going to get picked up. He is going to get scooped up by WWE as soon as they're bringing back Omos.
Oh yeah, they're gonna bring them together.
And
they're gonna. But yeah, I don't know. I like Omos. He seems like a guy that seems very likable. He seems like he's having a good time there. You know, obviously, like it's not gonna be easy for him to live there because everything's so small. I feel bad for the guy, but it makes him special, and that's the point of him. So I'm with it. They didn't use him, so good for him. He gets to do work now. So
Jeff Bugenhagen in the chat, really good point as well. I mean, almost can't get worse. Yeah, he can't get worse.
True. That's true. He can't.
Sky's the limit.
I'm a big Omos guy. Okay, shouts out, and I think he's going by all caps almost now. So he is really now Japan. So we won.
That rules.
Also, I just want to make a point in the main event with this faction. How I think it's very interesting. Jack Morris went from being the main guy to now being the secondary guy again. I felt like that's very interesting.
Yeah. Special singles match here. Shinsuke Nakamura defeats Ulka Sasaki 14 minutes 57 seconds. I thought this match was solid, but not great as I was maybe hoping for. But what I did like about this, it was basically it was a lot of like grappling, a lot of the MMA sort of style here, I guess, between these two. A lot of grappling. And basically just Nakamura big brothering Ulka Sasaki for about 15 minutes. And I will say this as well. I hate the hair change for Ulka Sasaki.
Oh, yeah.
I think it immediately makes him less interesting and immediately makes him look more like Shindy level. I think it's an awful hair color. It's an awful hair change. It's dried out his hair significantly or no longer looks good. And he needs to figure it out completely because I think he made an awful mistake. I thought at one point this year, Ulka Sasaki, he could be a future star. He changed his hair. He looks like Yoshitatsu. I don't like him anymore.
I think he'll be fine.
I think he'll be ultimately fine as well. But it's one of those things of like, he changed his hair. He has a shittier look now, in my opinion. And then he got big brothered by Nakamura. And it's like, well, that really hurt.
That wasn't a good stock.
No, not a good 1-2 punch for me.
No. I mean, I don't have any Ulka Sasaki stock, but I think he'll be fine. Yeah, Nakamura was in gimmick, so it took away from like the potential too. But it's always cool to see him return to Japan at the same time, do the big entrance. People love to see him. So it was a spectacle, much like the Muto match, but less spectacle because that was very, very, very unique, if that makes sense. But
why did they not make this a US title match?
I don't know. They could have.
Yeah, why not?
Wouldn't have minded it.
Would have been fun.
Weird, man.
Yeah,
it would have been fun. Would have been cool.
Maybe they wanted to present the idea that Ulka Sasaki could win. Maybe, and so that I guess would be good booking. But it's whatever.
Has WWE lost like anytime they send wrestlers over?
I highly doubt it.
Well, Heights and Briggs lost, I guess.
Yeah,
but that was expected. And they're NXT wrestlers.
Did they? What was even their record? Did they have winning records? Let's see.
You're the one that did the tournament, man.
That's what I'm looking up, my guy. Calm down. Let's see.
I don't actually know. Briggs definitely did.
Briggs had I think 10 points and he was second in his block, and Tavon Heights was tied third in his block with 8. So yeah, I would say winning records for both of them. Not shocked there.
Okay.
Main event, GHC heavyweight title match. Ozawa, shocking win. Taishi Ozawa makes his re-debut after being a rookie, after going away to Progress of all places, going over England for last year, has returned to Noah, leader of this Team 2000 X faction, and has defeated Kaito Kiyomiya, his great reign of 2024, and he has defeated Kiyomiya in a mocking, trolling fashion, where he's stolen the crowd completely as well. And he is your new GHC heavyweight champion. Scotty, what do you think of the match? What do you think of this not legitimately shocking, but a legitimately interesting, shocking moment for Noah?
I saw some people crapping on this. I thought this was brilliant by Noah. This guy's got it. Ozawa's got it. I don't like people just, everyone has a different description of what it is. He has it. Yes, he's goofy, very goofy. Yes, he's a little bit over the top,
but it all works.
When it all works, and when the wrestling hits, it's like, oh shit, this guy just is like, in a way, he's a show off, right? He's goofy, he shows off. Like when he did the backflip and then picked his nose and put it on Kaito, I lost my mind. I was like, that was wow.
Backflip into the
wow, this guy's he's charismatic as hell. He just has it. And for years now, people have asked, Noah, can you push new stars? What is this? This guy re-debuts.
Yeah.
And wins the GHC heavyweight title in the biggest show of the year.
I think this is inspired booking. Inspired booking.
Won the crowd. The crowd from there.
Not only, I would even say won the crowd. Had the crowd in his corner from the jump.
And had them in the palm of his hands. When Kaito goes for the low blow, hits the low blow, and they boo the hell out of him, it's like, this guy's done it. And the story going into this match was great. He questioned why Kaito was leading a rebellion when he has nothing to lead. Like, you're the ace of this company. You're not leading a rebellion. You're just that guy. Now he has someone to play off of, an actual rebel. Shout out to David Finley as well. That is now the world champion, has taken out Kaito Kiyomiya, has established himself and his group effectively as the dominant force over Noah.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating. I thought the match worked. I don't think it was great, but I thought it was very, very entertaining, very solid, and has me more excited for Noah than I would have been.
Yeah.
If he lost, probably.
I went 3 3/4 on this match. I thought it was really fun and interesting. Not a great match per se, didn't get me quite there, but very good. I mean, honestly, it's probably a 3.5 star match, and I upped a quarter because I was like, the win of Ozawa is so interesting to me.
I went 3.5.
Noah is a company that needs this shot in the arm. He is obviously, Ozawa is very interesting. He has the wrestling potential in terms of in ring to get even better.
That's crazy shit.
This guy is, how old is he? 28 years old. A lot older than I think most people probably think. Same age as Kaito Kiyomiya. They need this. This company needs a guy like Ozawa so badly. Mm-hmm. One of the things I said in the year in review was one of the pros for Noah this past year in 2024 was that they decided to push new and young guys. They pushed Daga. They kept the title on Kaito Kiyomiya all year. They pushed him so much that Kaito Kiyomiya won the N1 while being champion. Jack Morris got a little push at the top of the year as well. They really focused on the younger generation, no longer the older generation. Sorry, Go Shiozaka. And they thought they had a really solid year. I think a better year than they have in the past couple years, right?
Sure.
And now they have put the title on a kid, well, the same age as Kaito Kiyomiya, but a kid that is making essentially his debut, establishing a faction that has also won the tag titles. It has maybe even some WWE fans' eyes on it as well. In a very inspired booking decision. Noah, 2 years ago, would have never have done this.
No, they wouldn't have
Now,
even dared to do this.
No, now we are here, and I am fascinated to see what 2025 looks like for
It was
them.
our rules.
He is so interesting. He's obviously a troll, right? He has that troll qualities about him. He has that sort of Gen Z troll quality about him. But he also has, to me, a Jay White quality about his actual wrestling. And it could just be the fact that he's leaving the ring and not bothering to wrestle. But there's something about him that feels very methodical in his trolling. That makes sense.
Sure.
And I think, and he's always playing steps
He's a lot more
ahead
flashy than Jay White.
Yes, way more charismatic, even though Jay White is very charismatic in his own right. But there's something about him that I'm greatly fascinated by. I think this is a great inspired choice. What were the people? You said people were complaining about the finish. What were people? What were those complaints?
People think Kaito is doomed because of the way this all happened to him.
I think that's sort of a lose-lose situation for Kaito Kiyomiya. If he won, then people would argue that they weren't pushing the young new talent. And if he loses, then he's doomed. I think that's a lose-lose.
I think it can work for Kaito long term.
I agree.
You know,
Ozawa, they want this to be a generational rivalry. So Kaito now finally has a guy that he can work off of.
This guy got in his head, and he had the confidence to continuously do that. He never wavered from his mindset and the way he wrestled. I think when you watch Ozawa, and the more you watch Ozawa, you just feel like, this is different. This is new. And listen, credit where credit's due. Noah did what New Japan would never do. They brought back a young lion, gave him the belt.
The grip.
Right. The grip was built up perfectly in Noah this year. And there were people that said he should just stay. Like, they don't want him back in New Japan, right? Which says a lot. And I think if you have watched Noah, if you have followed Noah for the past couple of years, I think you have a bigger appreciation for this than just dropping in for their Nippon Budokan show and whatever like their middle of the year show is. If you watch and you follow, you have really great appreciation for what they did with Ozawa here and the uniqueness that Ozawa now brings, right? They've been lacking star power, right? It's been Kaito Kiyomiya, Kano, who's on a down cycle.
It's been Owiwa, which we knew was going to leave.
Go Shiozaki, who's on a down cycle, obviously. They needed a new star, and they made one in one night. The crowd loves him. He's called himself the real rebel, and he's now leading a faction that is a fascinating one at that. If you could replace Yoshitatsu, it would be a perfect faction.
Daga, Yoshitatsu, WWE's Omos, Jack Morris, and Ozawa. What a fascinating group of individuals. Very, very fascinating to watch. The potential is what's the most interesting thing about this. And I don't know what it's going to look like, Scotty, but I am currently hyped for Noah in 2025 for that main title picture. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I'm very much excited for it. I'm very much excited for it.
They already announced the big match too. Hold on.
Well, while you look that up, I'll just say this. Oh, go ahead.
January 11th, Cork and Hall. Star Navigation Premium 2025. Ozawa goes one-on-one with Kano.
For the title?
Just a singles match, which is interesting. I was shocked. I thought it would be for the title.
I saw this. Ozawa is not letting it be a title match because he thinks, I think the quote was that he thinks Kano is like, I think, a stupid loser. I believe is the
Well, that's
quote.
true. To be fair, he did lose to Kenta. He
Yeah.
shouldn't get a title match.
Yeah, I think the bit is that Ozawa's calling Kano like a stupid loser, and he's like, "I'm not giving you a title match. You're a loser. I'm not doing that." Which is great.
Good booking.
Good booking, smart booking, a shot in the arm of Noah that feels exciting. I think the doomsayers about Kaito Kiyomiya weren't fully watching his year that was 2024. And I think that is a leftover from the Great Muta stuff, which is fair. But I think now that he has an equal and he has a lot more younger people that he have more interesting stuff with, I think there is more potential for Kaito in the future. I said this in the past. I think Kaito's issue might have been overexposure too soon, and being wrestling in a career for 9 years. But it's fine. It's fine. I think Kaito is now set up properly to be better, and Ozawa is so much more interesting. You still have Jack Morris around there that could do interesting stuff. Kano is still around to do interesting stuff if need be. I don't think a world title picture, obviously, for him, but interesting stuff. People have been stepping up. Even some of the olds like Manabu Soya stepping up. I think they're primed and ready to have a really solid 2025. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm into it. I am into it big time, and I think instantly I'm like, oh, I can't wait for the next Ozawa match. That's a win. That's a win.
Yeah, and how often does Scotty get excited about a Noah future Noah match?
That doesn't involve Kaito Kiyomiya, by the way. Good stuff.
Well, speaking about an exciting show from a promotion that needed an exciting show, Stardom Dream Queendom took place December 29th in Ryogoku Korakuen Hall, Tokyo, Japan. 4,023 people. I guess
they've ever had in Sumo Hall.
Great. That's great to hear. What do they have? They didn't have any other show in 2024. Excuse me. In 2023, last year they had for Dream Queendom 3,000. They added 1,000 people. Pretty good.
Yep.
King of Pro Wrestling was 6,200.
All right, man. You don't look in New Japan.
G1 Climax Finals was 8,000.
Hold on. The G1 had that's crazy.
That is crazy.
The big Daito title match.
DDT had 4,131, so just slightly below DDT.
I don't believe
that. Marigold Summer Destiny, 3,058. Well, the Marigold. Yeah, good job, Stardom. Woo! Culture War. Let's go, baby. And then the only other bit I have Wrestle Magic from Noah this year as well, or last year, 3,500. So pretty solid for Stardom here. Let's go over the proper show. Scotty, I'm sure you've reviewed this show a billion times in the past week, but let's talk about it. Pre-show, we'll skip the pre-show matches unless you have any big thoughts. Aya Sakura and Yuna Miyazumori defeat Chichi and Matao Hamabe.
Trying to save you from having to say it.
And a time limit draw of Rana Yagami and Sayaka Karara. I'm nailing the pronunciations.
You fought for your life there.
I did. I was actually having a stroke. Let's start off with the proper show. Goddesses of the title match. The stars that deserved it, Hana and Saida, defeat the team of Momo Watanabe and Tekla to become the new champions to hold those tag titles. We talked about in our pros and cons of Stardom last year that with what they've been doing with Wingori have been really solid, and now they put the titles on them. So much deserved, much expected, but definitely much deserved.
Yep, they had their crowning moment, which was very important, and a smart way to start off the show. The crowd was engaged and very behind them against Momo and Tekla, which again was very important, I think, to starting the show off with a bang. You could feel it, I think, watching it, right? I don't think the match was blow away necessarily, but I thought the performances, the babyface performances specifically by Wingori, were excellent. Now they hopefully can raise those titles back up, which I'm sure they will. It was a good change, necessary change, and yeah, I have no complaints about how they did it and kind of gave them the moment. The one thing, I didn't need the long ref bump. Like, it was long.
Yeah.
We had 2 spots where they had the win to understandably create doubt, but they didn't need it to be that long. One fall was good enough, but other than that, I thought that it did the job that it needed to do.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that statement. We'll see what happens. I think one thing that Wingori really needs is like a good, real, solid heel tag team in Stardom to have a good comparison. There's obviously FWC out there, but they're very much not heels. But so I wouldn't want to have something more than just hate Momo Watanabe and Tekla. I don't know who
Sure.
that would be, but just something of like that ilk of Wingori, where it's like some young stars to fight over these tag titles.
Mhm.
That could be a fun little bit. 3-way 12-man tag match. Empress Nexus Venus defeat God's Eye and Hate 7 minutes and 4 seconds. Completely
Nothing
fine,
match.
whatever match. I don't think this mattered.
It was a nothing match. That's the most I could say about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 8-man tag team match. Azame, Mei Sora, Miyo Amasaki, and Suzu Suzuki defeat the team of Hazuki, Koguma, Mayu Iwatani, and Momo Kogo. What do you think of this 8-man tag team match?
I thought it was a good preview for the IWGP Women's Title match. You got Mayu and Azumi in there. You got Azumi some momentum heading into their match. Obviously, they have one more preview tag on Friday, which I expect Mayu probably to get some sort of win there. So they go 50-50 in terms of the momentum wins. I'm still convinced that Azumi should win the title. And
Agreed.
by the end of the night, I was even more convinced that Azumi should win the title because they did the 2 things I said they should do. So got to make it 3. Got to make it 3.
For Scotty's sanity, it has to be. I have to be right. I have to. Your Scotty's ego has to be all 3 correct. All 3 correct predictions.
I should go 3 for 3. Yes.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty solid match, and like you said, sets up Asame and Mayu and Tony a little bit more. Nothing else to me like stood out completely from the other wrestlers. Sayori Anu defeats Mika Awada. I like Mika Awada's look so much, and her style of wrestling works for me as well. Except for whatever reason, I can't get into that like, oh, she's a great wrestler camp yet. There's something holding
Oh,
me
she's
back.
very hit or miss. Oh, she's
Yeah,
very yeah.
I thought this
She
match was really good, but it was just something that was
yeah.
just like, I can't. It couldn't
She's
get.
very unique. So I'll explain this to you. For years, people have wanted her to get the big spot, get the big title win, and she has. She got it. But I thought her title reign overall lacked the excitement in like a match like this, even. I don't think she showed up when the light was brightest on her. I think she's better when she's in there with people that are shockingly better than her. I do think she's good. I don't think she's necessarily great. I know it's a hot take among some people because they love her and all that. She has the killer look though. She has, you know, just a great style. And I thought these 2 had a very good match that was different from everything else in terms of singles. For a 5th time this year, it definitely exceeded my expectations in terms of like it's been hit or miss sometimes. This was a hit. I'll give them that. Um, and it was a way to get a Cosmic Angels singles match on the show. So I have no complaints. Awada will maybe be back, I'm sure, once or twice in the new year. But otherwise, yeah, it's just like she's best when either she's with the people she's usually with, which is her Sendai Girls roster, or there can be inconsistencies, which is ultimately been my problem with her as of late. But she's still good.
I think one of the things that the key moment in the match that made me like lose out on Mika Awada was her sitting on top of Sayori Anu and doing like 20 headbutts in a row. I was just
Oh yeah,
like quality, not quantity for those sort of
sure.
things, especially a headbutt.
Her headbutts that she was doing, you could actually hear like the sound, which was like, all right, you just need to do 2, man. Like these are
Yeah,
the
but
first 2 are nasty.
but like it's so obvious. I can see her like headbutting her hand, especially from that camera angle that they shot it
Yeah.
at. Where I was just like, this looks bad. I was like, this looks dumb, and I wasn't a fan of it. And that drove me out of her too much.
To
But
be fair, I can't watch any headbutt spot that's not in Joshi for the most part because most of them just do that, the hand thing. I'm like, all right, I know what the sound sounds like. I don't hear any sound.
especially during the Joshi Rewind project, it's like, oh, I'm just getting shoot headbutts left and right.
Yeah, I mean, between that and like a Sari match, like
Yeah. Yes.
there's a lot of headbutts. I know
Yes.
what a real headbutt is. Damn it.
Yeah, you can't be doing fake looking headbutts in in 2024 when Suri is dominating the competition. But it is one of those things. Next up, a low light here. Shuri defeats Konami by DQ in 33 seconds. Basically, this match starts. Shuri just immediately, or in the course of 2 kicks, knocks Konami's block off. So much so that Konami is injured now. Then the match continued for a little bit longer where Shuri beat down Konami. And then the rest of Hate come in and beat down Shuri with a lot of stiff-looking bat hits from Momo Watanabe into Shuri, and the match ended in 33 seconds. So kind of a weird match, but if someone got injured, it is what it is. And then they took a real big booking change decision with Hate to run in and make mess up Shuri. So, what do you think of this match? I guess, Scotty, it wasn't really much of a match, but what do you think of it?
Well, initially I was angry because I was like, "Why did we do this? Like, this is annoying." Though there was a great bit where I was like, big match, sure, here we go," and my feed was behind, and like I got so many comments of like about that, like everyone was like, "This is bad," and I was like, "Oh no." So yeah, that was a shame. Obviously, hope Konami's doing better now that she's gonna be out for a while. So, best wishes to her after the tough injury. Yeah, it just was a sucky situation, and it was not the situation this had to happen because then they wanted to do the debut after of former Glate wrestler Maya Fukuda, now going by hold on, I got it. Kyoka Kotatsu. Very dramatic name change.
Yeah.
So like when she ran out, I was like, what is happening? I was like someone pointed out to me like they initially thought it was like one of the Inabas, and I was like, no, I can see it. Like, cause like, first glance, I was like, because I saw someone throwing a kick. I saw the back of it. I was like, all right, why is this person picking up a microphone now? And I was like, oh, okay, it's her. It's good to see them make additions. I do think that everyone should be making additions. Every 2 companies have now made additions to start the new year, which is good, both them and TJPW. Maya Fukuda is not a proven wrestler. She fell really in love with the GLEAT, UWF, and MMA stuff that she like never did normal wrestling matches. So now this will be fascinating to see her figure this out. But she has the background, she has like the kicks, and she's with Shuri. So if she's gonna figure it out, this is the person to put her with. So we'll see. We'll see. There's a lot of wait and see here because I'm sure she's been with them in training. So I'm sure it'll be very different when she does debut. But yeah, the match was obviously unfortunate. The low point of what I thought was an overall great show from Stardom.
Yeah, I agree. Natsuka Tora defeats Micah in a no DQ match. This match, going into it, I had fears that this was going to be WWE style no DQ match, and instead it was very much a death match in a lot of ways. And so much so, you brought this up in the Slack, so much so that felt very much reminiscent of that Dump Matsumoto of old. Which is something that they've been really infusing in the Natsuko Tora character, which I have been actually enjoying more. And this match was really, really good. The sort of return to of violence in Joshi wrestling that hasn't been around in a while. Of course, probably because of the Queens of Villains TV show, but the infusion of violence in Joshi wrestling that has been gone for, I think, laid dormant for a very long time was very much welcomed. I thought Micah did a really good job here. I love the color that she got. Ospreay got like the sort of Muto face, but Micah got the like sort of bloody splatter, which looked great as well, all over her face, her mouth, her arms, her chest. Just the sort of splatter look was a great look.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, Tora infusing the Dump Matsumoto energy into her, I think has been a world of improvement for her, for someone that is someone I don't necessarily care about a lot of the time. So I've been enjoying what I've been getting, and hey, I guess I want more of it.
Yeah, she is someone who has tried to be doing this and had in her mindset for a long time, but when you know, obviously Joshi overall has not been in that realm of going gory and bloody in a long, long time, but this is now the second time we've seen it in a Joshi ring since Queen of Villains has come out. So there's no reason to credit. I mean, Sari literally said to me that like she watched that and was like, "Yeah, we're bringing that back." Um, and now this is the second occasion where they both bleed. Micah gets incredible blood going. I walked away from this match and was like, this did for Micah more than her title reign did,
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
her 5-star undefeated run did. Like she lost and she came out feeling much bigger than she did at any point of
It
those
also was
two.
like cathartic to watch in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Her losing was a genuine shock for me,
Mhm.
and it was a great thing to see because they were running the risk of we are pushing her so hard and she's always winning. Like the good thing is she still cheered, but I think this is just very beneficial because now you watch and it's like, okay, they can get behind her. There's something here to take from, and I think that's very exciting for me. As someone who's been very up and down with Micah, this was the most I've been into what she's doing. This match was a home run. I mean, my expectations going into it were not very high at all. And the moment Micah started bleeding, I was like, oh boy, here we go. Because I said on all my previews, I said, I don't think they're willing to go the extra limit that this match needs to go to be good, which was blood. And they did it. So I applaud them. You don't overuse the blood, but when you use it in the right points,
Yeah.
it's very, very successful. And I'm sure these two are bound to have another match because Micah is now 0-2 against Natsuko Tora. So
Yeah,
something to
and
focus
I
there.
think they're doing a good job of elevating Natsuko Tora as well.
Well, after they did a terrible job of doing it, yes.
That's fair. Yeah, I think obviously this is all spurred on by the Queens of Villain stuff, but I will give the compliments of Okada for going with it. He didn't
Mhm.
have to do all that stuff, go into that
Sure.
violence world, and he did it, and I've been enjoying it. And I think it's a good change. I think it's a thing, part of it is the Bushi Road stuff of wanting that sort of good-looking idol culture idea. I think
Mm.
part of it is just like how, Rossi probably sees it a little bit. I have to imagine, just because he also is the
Rossi
booker.
had blood on his show before Stardom did, man.
I know, I know. I'm just saying that he was in charge of Stardom for many, many moons. I'm not saying he doesn't do blood, but
The scene
um,
went away from it overall.
yes,
Like this was a scene thing that
it's a
I'm
scene
guessing
thing,
is a
but
culture thing as well.
that also might not be. That also might be true. I only bring up Rossi because he is the leader of the scene for a very long time, and one of the reasons why it wasn't around is because he didn't book the stuff. Could easily be a culture thing, and obviously the Bushi Road stuff doesn't add to it of the whole idol culture idea. But it's a welcome. I truly welcome it because it not just does give me more interesting things from Micah and Natsuko Tora and more continuation, but I think it adds a new dynamic to these shows that aren't just like great high flying sort of uh, action. If we got like a high speed title match, and then the last two main events, I would
Sure.
have thought I would have been over the moon for this sort of
Mhm.
match, for this sort of show.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, I think that more diversity is more welcome, and I think the violence is something I'm definitely welcoming. Wonder of Stardom title match is your semi-main event. Starlight Kid finally picks up that win, picks up that title, defeats Natsupoi in 23 minutes 15 seconds. Scotty, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I thought they had a great match. And they had to do exactly what they needed to do, which was give Starlight Kid the championship. She walked out there looking like a star. She got in there looking like the star of the match. And this match was catered to make her the star. Um, I thought it was excellent. I've seen people say it's their match of the year. I'm not going that far. But I did think it was truly great and my favorite match of the show. And I also think when you hopefully look back at this moment, it's the moment where, the title probably makes a turnaround because Starlight Kid should be having a long, good reign. And it's also the moment where I really do think that, and this show overall, I keep calling it a clean slate show, a clean slate that I needed for watching this promotion, a clean slate that I think they needed, and they did it by crowning 3 new champions. And now you go into the new year with hopefully, you don't look to compare anymore. You don't look to just like, oh, it was, and this is for me, and I know I was part of the problem. But you're not going to try. I'm not going to look at it and be like, oh, well, this was booked this way once upon a time. This is how this is booked now. This is where we're going. This is the direction we're going. Starlight Kid as champion is the right move. Her and Natsupoi had, like I said, an excellent match. My only critique is that Starlight Kid hit the Eternal Foe, which was a move that has been used as her finisher. And Natsupoi kicked out at 1. And I was like, oh, so okay, cool, sure. That was my only big critique because I don't think it was needed for this match to have a 1 kick out on that big super move, which is the Spanish fly off the top rope. But that's my only critique. And if that's my only critique, it's a winner. So Starlight Kid should be the Wonder of Stardom champion right now. Natsupoi's reign ultimately goes down to being about the moment rather than the reign itself. And I'm excited to see where Starlight Kid goes because she's going to have a lot of heavy lifting. They have gone with a heel world champion, which is very new for Stardom. So Starlight Kid will have to kind of be a great Wonder of Stardom champion to keep things going.
Yeah, well said. I'm glad to see Starlight Kid getting that Wonder of Stardom title. Very much deserved for a too long of a time, I'll argue. As someone that has been watching this promotion for a little bit, definitely would have enjoyed an earlier reign there, but it's fine. I think, with potential other people maybe leaving the company in the new year, I think it's a perfect time to elevate her to the next stage. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe not next stage, but the proper stage that she is at, I guess. Main event, World of Stardom title match. Saya Kamatani defeats Tam Nakano. Scotty, I remember talking about Saya Kamatani winning the world title maybe last year, 2 years ago, and here we are. Just it took a massive heel turn and a crappy 5-star to get here, but alas, the sort of like training reels are off. The wrestling ability of Saya Kamatani is a little bit more back. Still not entirely together. She still very much loves doing this thing with her hands.
She loves posing.
She loves posing.
All she does is pose.
Yeah, it's a little annoying.
This is absurd. I was like,
I thought the wrestling in between the posing was really, really good, and she gets the world title match here. So, what do you think of the main event?
It's a very weird main event because I give them tons of praise for the amount of ideas they had within this main event. There were so many ideas, so many Tam specific ideas that you could tell. And there was some good wrestling, but I've seen them have better matches. And I think that's what hurts them. Like I have seen them have the match at World Climax. I've seen them have the match at Dream Queendom 2021 where Saya won the Wonder that were both, I think, better. But crowning Saya Kamatani is going with the heel character that they weren't willing to fully go with Natsuko. And now it's a direction that's very enticing, very exciting, because I do think Saya Kamatani despite still needing to figure out herself as a heel, is handling herself well again. Like, I don't think she has done the perfect job in, say, her promos to sell matches and to sell herself. Like, the Tam stuff in the lead up was not great. But this is, like I said, a clean slate. Now she gets to go forward as the World of Stardom champion. It's a spot that, breaking news, she would have been in last year had she not got hurt. Obviously in a very different role, and maybe it's a beneficial role for her. She seems to be having fun with the character. There are a lot of baby faces for her to work with. I'm guessing Sariano might be the first, just based on the big singles win, the connection to Tam. Tam says she's going to get revenge, but at the end of the day, all the roads lead to Saya Kamatani versus Micah at the Yokohama Arena All-Star Grand Queendom 2025. I don't think would be a shock to anyone. I think that's the direction. But yeah, it made sense to crown her as champion. I thought the finish of her faking everyone out and then turning on Tam and using Tam's feelings was very Tam Road.
Yeah.
But it was effective in that it was so devious, and like her then being like, "You're gonna put the belt around me again, like you did the first time I
It was
beat you."
a little cheesy, a little too
Very
cheesy,
much so.
but
Yeah.
but
But the idea for me was, oh, she didn't want to use hate to get her the win. She wanted to do it herself, which again, I think is an interesting tidbit moving forward for her. And that story. So I'm very intrigued to see where it goes. It's not the let me think. In terms of like the World of Stardom title matches at Queendom, it's not a Tommy and Shuri, it's not Shuri and Julia. But in terms of setting up for the future, it's very exciting, I think, for Stardom. And that's why this show is such a win for them. Lots of excitement coming out of it after a very, very up and down year. And I think that's very important. And they're selling tickets. So again, I thought the reason Tam might win is because that's what she does, is sell tickets as world
uh-huh.
champion.
Uh-huh.
They didn't go that direction, which they have steam right now. It might be okay. But we'll see. We'll see. They can always pivot back. It's not hard. She's not going anywhere. So
Mhm.
I think it was the right move to make now, because Saya couldn't lose. She couldn't lose the 5-star final than this. So I am interested, and that's the best thing I can really say about this moving forward. Would like to see them kind of set up a title challenge for her like sooner than later, just because you want to take time to build that up, because I think it'll help Saya's character. But I am excited for 2025 Stardom, folks. Like I said, clean slate. And I
Much
think it's very
needed.
important.
Much needed.
They hit a home
Uh,
run with their biggest opportunity to hit a home run. That's what you got to do.
yeah, and they're definitely not doing anything for New Year Dream for that world title. So we'll see. I guess we'll see there.
No, that card is not exciting. So like, it's not. It's a house show card in a very big building.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough.
It's a tough card. But yeah, same thing of like Noah. Same thing applies to Stardom here. I think Noah, I think, had a better 2024 than Stardom for sure. But Stardom really needed a kick in the pants, and they are doing it despite selling tickets, which is also a good thing. You would think that they're a hot company, but I'm interested to see what they have moving forward. I'm still not fully back, but I think I'm tepid. What's the word? Trepidatious, I think is the word, right? I'm afraid to like see how it goes, but I'm less confident, I guess, in them than I am in Noah for some reason. But we'll see how it plays out. Right? We'll see how it all plays out for them. But I'm not to say that I'm not excited to see how it comes out, because I obviously want it to be good. I want to go watch good wrestling, Scotty. What can I say?
Hey, you're singing to the choir with that one, buddy. As
Let's
someone that
talk about.
has to watch all this, you're singing to the choir.
Well, let's watch some other wrestling. All Japan New Year's Eve had their show
Other,
in
notably,
Tokyo,
not good.
Japan.
You said other.
Yeah, 2,500 here in the Yogi National Gymnasium. I believe was the same building that they had the last year's show in. They also had Stardom the Conversion in here this year. That was 1,600, so better than Stardom. So eat your heart out. But this is All Japan's biggest show of the year. Last year, they had their show Mania X, which was 2,600. So this time they have 2,500. So basically the same, a little bit lower. I watched the top, well, not really top 4 because there's a secret bonus match apparently in the preview. Did you see what I'm talking about? On Cage Match, it has Sakamoto versus Dan Tamura into the Elpida versus Aoagi's. But there was a tag match in between here. Am I wrong? Am I mistaken? I skipped over it because I didn't watch it. But am I wrong there? Did you watch that thing?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, perfect. Then we'll move right along. What matches of this did you watch, Scotty? Because I believe you did tell me that you watched some of it.
I watched Sakamoto versus Tamura. I watched the Aoyagi match. I watched the All Asia tag, and then I stopped.
All right. Well, I watch all of those plus the main event, so we'll discuss those things. Daisuke Sakamoto defeats Dan Tamura in 15 minutes and 30 seconds. Dan Tamura is a guy that has definitely bulked up a lot more. Every time I see him, he's bulking up. His hair is growing longer, and every time I see Daisuke Sakamoto, I forget how short he is. This guy is extremely tiny. I thought Dan Tamura was tiny, and now all of a sudden they're the same height.
Yeah, the hair for Dan Tamura shocked me. I was like, oh, I wasn't aware.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware your hair is now luscious and long. Good for you, I guess.
What do you think of the match itself?
It was fine. Pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
No blow away. Nothing blow away.
I was kind of surprised they had Sakamoto get the win here. In my opinion, I would have thought that maybe this could have been a nice little moment, push up the card for Dan Tamura, but instead it's Sakamoto, a guy that isn't, I believe, signed to All Japan, still signed to Big Japan, I believe. So I don't know, a little weird, I guess, but whatever, I guess. Nice little match, good little stuff. I'm not a big Dan Tamura guy, so it is what it is. I wasn't gonna be probably into this match fully to begin with. Next match, Renai Abe and Rika Honda defeat the Aoagis in 20 minutes and 42 seconds. What do you think of this match, Scotty?
It was good to see Atsuki Aoyagi not be limited, if that makes sense. I didn't know what he was going to look like. He's missed a lot of time. So it was good to see him, doing the moonsaults, doing what he was doing previously. I don't think the match was blow away or anything. I thought it was actually quite long. Like, it just felt long.
Totally agree.
So I had it on the same level as the previous one, which is like, it was here. It was fine. But it was good to see Atsuki back and really in full form. Like, I didn't think he looked too rusty or anything. And I don't think he had a choice because they wrestled forever. So,
yeah, I agree. Wrestled forever, felt way too long. Definitely was way too long. But the wrestling was itself good. It's just one of those matches. Honestly, you could have shaved 7 to 8 minutes probably, and it would have been a great match. I think. I really like this team of Renai Abe and Rika Honda. They are two guys that earlier this year, they were singles wrestlers and they both weren't fully clicking with me. And I didn't quite enjoy them individually. They had moments where I enjoyed it, right? There had moments where I was like, okay, I'm into these guys. But since putting them together, I think it is hiding those negatives for me. And I think the two of them are excelling greatly in the ring. I think there are more companies that need to put together tag teams like All Japan's booking decision did, and see two guys that are not clicking fully, I think, as single stars and putting them as a tag team and then seeing that tag team excel. I think this tag team is excelling. I'm glad to see Agi's back. And pretty good match otherwise, but definitely very, very long. Summer main event, all Asia tag team title match. Rising Hayato and Yuma Ansei, the champions, defend their titles successfully against Kenta Miyahara and Ryo Inoue. Again, a pretty long match, but better wrestling quality. I think a little bit slow start, but once it got going, it definitely got going. Again, Kenta Miyahara is a great wrestler. I think the best wrestler in All Japan this year, in ring, in my opinion. But it is Kenta Miyahara. Ryo Inoue is a guy that has been, gone from junior to heavyweight. No, I think he's still junior technically. But anyways, Ryo Inoue, I really been enjoying this year. Yuma Anzai, great year for All Japan. Rising Hayato doing really good. So really good like tag team match that was able to be like emblematic of what all four of these guys have had a great year. Put people that have all had great years and put them all together. And there's also a weird part of me, Scotty, that in the back of my head wonders if like, man, what if this was instead of Ryo Inoue, we had Katsuhiko Nakajima in the spot, but we don't. We have Ryo Inoue, who's still very good, and I definitely enjoy his wrestling. But I think a really, really good match. Just again, I think a little bit too long, and that opening stretch was just a little bit too slow for me. What do you think of this one?
I thought this was great. I really enjoyed this. This was everything that I want to see from All Japan, and it happened to be Kento Miyahara in a match that had stakes. Crazy idea. What an idea. But yeah, no, it was really what I wanted to see on this show. My thoughts on All Japan after this year. I'm hoping we turn a corner, though I don't know how to feel about the main event result, but it's to be fair, I didn't like the champion coming in. So it's a different conversation as is. But I love Anzai. I thought Inoue really stood out in this match as well. I like Rising Hayato a lot. I just like all four guys a lot. So I thought it was a great tag. And I saw a lot of people like really praise this match. I wouldn't go as high as them, but it was the kind of match you want from All Japan. That was really my takeaway. I was like, this is the All Japan that I really liked in 2022. This is very close to that. I just want Kento Miyahara to be back in a major spot. I will continue to ask until it happens. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I guess I'm interested to see how they'll play out next year for All Japan in 2025. Yeah, but I think this is a really good match. I agree that people are probably rating it too high. I think on the cage match is at 8.15. I definitely am not that high, but it's still a good little match. And then the main event. Oh man, Scotty. Main event, Jun Saito. Maybe not an upset again, but I think a smart decision. Jun Saito defeats Davey Boy Smith in 21 minutes and 47 seconds. Not a good match. Not bad, but like boring as all hell. Jun Saito is somebody that definitely needs a dynamic wrestler against him, like an Anzai, like a Miyahara. Davey Boy Smith is not dynamic. What? Just not at all. Not at all. No, in any way capacity. I'm glad that the long or really short national nightmare in All Japan is over with Davey Boy Smith holding the Triple Crown. He can now, thankfully, go back to MLW and hang out with Eric Bischoff. Jun Saito getting the win here, I think, is a smart choice. He is obviously one of the big-time stars for All Japan, big-time drawing stars for All Japan. They drew as well here as they did with Nakajima and Miyahara last year, right?
Yeah,
so Jun Saito, and one of the people in the main event is Davey Boy Smith Jr. Jun Saito is a big-time star. Same thing with Rei Saito. I'm excited to see now what All Japan will do with a hot star in the Saitos. On top, I'm excited to see what Jun Saito does. He's a guy that can miss or hit. It definitely matters for a more dynamic wrestler. I think there are a lot more dynamic wrestlers on this roster than Davey Boy Smith Jr. So whereas this match was boring and not that great, I think the reign still has solid potential to go up. And Scotty, I honestly think it can only go up from here. So I think that's the good news here.
Yeah. It's weird because like I don't have an interest in a Jun Saito reign, but I have even less interest in a Davey Boy Smith Jr. reign. So it's like, and he's popular, so I get it. It's just flip-flopping the title all of a sudden is not it's not what I want.
What do you mean flip-flopping?
Like that we've
mean-
had you had 4 Triple Crown champions in a year span. 5 years. 5. Oh yeah, Nakajima was around.
Nakajima, Yuma Anzai, Yuma Aoyagi, Davey Boy Smith Jr., and Jun Saito. They have been also upping the amount of challenges. That definitely plays a part of it, but I see what you're saying.
I understand why they are, because they're a business that needs to sell tickets to be successful right now. So big title matches, which is fascinating why. Actually, it's not shocking they didn't do it for the 2 Corkins now because they don't need it to sell those tickets right now because of the international aspect. Yeah, I'll wait and see. I haven't loved the Saito singles wise ever.
Oh, they're missing out.
Besides,
they've had some good stuff this year, singles wise.
I like June versus Kento, but that's Kento. I don't.
Yeah, that's fair.
Also, by the way, it is shocking you like the Saitos. They're the complete definition of the opposite of what you like.
But the charisma is what really helps. I really like the Saitos.
But speed and intensity, there's no speed.
There's a little bit of intensity.
They are slow and lumbering tag team. They're a good
but
tag
they weren't.
team.
But I think what I like about them is that because they are so great at being the opposite, they wrap back around to being great. Does that make sense? They're not this pinnacle of speed, intensity, yada yada yada, but they're the opposite, which ends up being a good thing in my brain.
Interesting. So you must be a big fan of
scouring the globe for a wrestle that fits that definition. Go ahead.
No, because it'll be mean to the Saitos if I do.
Well, it's not just that, but I think it's the fact that they are reminiscent of something older.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Also adds a lot to it because they're different, because they're a throwback. I think it adds a lot to them and my interest in them. I'm trying to think of a good example of that. I don't know, very different level, but U.S. Indies, Mad Dog Connolly is a guy I've brought up a couple times. There's aspects of him that really make me enjoy him because he definitely feels like a throwback to 80s wrestling.
Yeah, no, I get it. You like the throwback. Easy.
Yeah.
It's it's easy to that's how I should have just understood, if that makes sense. So
no, yeah, you're good.
I just had to make the joke because I'm they're not fast.
Yeah, that is accurate. They are for sure.
And I guess they have intensity in terms of the way their matches heated up, at least. This is okay. You get the point.
Yeah, no, I get the point for sure. But yeah, not a great main event, but definitely I think I'm optimistic for the future. So we'll see.
Where are you in terms of All Japan for 2024 now that the show is happening?
I'm not as jacked as I am for Noah right now, I guess. I listened to the Emerald Flow show with Gerard DiTrolio, a past ballot guest. And I think he made mention of the fact that for him, All Japan and Noah work in waves, and they are always working in waves opposite from each other.
Yeah.
And I sort of agree with that statement. I liked 2024. I really liked 2023, but I liked 2024 All Japan. And this wasn't necessarily a great show of what I watched. I really thought this wasn't fully indicative of what All Japan was in the past year in terms of wrestling quality. I think a lot was left to the imagination in terms of wrestling quality on this show, especially the main event.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful that they'll have a good year in 2025, but I don't necessarily think this is a good way to end 2024 for them.
Yeah.
That's kind of
it's complete opposite of how they ended it last year.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
So
maybe hopefully they start a lot better than they did this year, in 2024 at least, right?
yeah,
With no Charlie Dempsey, which is I don't know if you read those Tokyo Sports interviews. They weren't good by the All Japan president.
yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I would have liked to have gotten more, but we'll see sort of how it goes. Um, we're over 2 hours. Do you want to do quick thoughts about Ring of Honor Final Battle or Rev Pro, or do you want to just save it for or not talk about it?
I mean, I didn't watch Rev Pro. I just was shocked at what
Oh,
they
I
did
thought you
with
did.
the
Okay.
title. No, I
Yeah.
was just shocked what they did with the title.
Yeah, I watched the entire show. I thought you would have watched at the very least the Iron Man match, but I also understand not giving up 60 minutes to watch that.
Yeah, I couldn't get myself to give up 6
I will
minutes.
say, legitimately great match. I think I went 4 on it. Legitimately great.
Wow.
I do recommend it. I thought Leon Slater gave a fantastic performance in that match and was easily a standout. He plays it such a baby face, and then he gets pinned twice by Zozawa, and then he says basically "fuck this," and then starts beating the shit out of Zozawa as like sort of a kind of like mild heel turn, a little thing in the match itself, and it was so great. Main event, yeah, they put the title off of Luke Jacobs and back on Michael Oku. So I'm gonna say this is confirmed. He's not going to AEW. He's sticking around in England. Whatever happened there, whatever happened. Luke Jacobs, all right. I like Luke Jacobs a lot. Michael Oku, I don't know. I don't like that's what they did. I thought he had a fine title reign. Obviously, I was into it at times, but there was also other times where I wasn't. The Osprey stuff is obviously great in my opinion, and then putting the title back on to him feels more of the same for Rev Pro. I'm not jazzed fully about it.
Yeah. I've been waiting for that because I was like, I saw it happen. I was like, that's a choice.
Mm-hmm. It is a
But
choice, and I don't.
it told you he wasn't going anywhere. You know?
That's what it told me, and that Michael Oku is a guy that I think needs a new something. Like when he got put into CMLL this year, I think this year, I thought it was like a nice change of pace. I thought he excelled there, and it was really nice to see him. But I don't necessarily want to see him in the same exact spot as heavyweight champion in this company right now. I'm past Oku. I'm past Oku. I was looking for the future of Luke Jacobs, and now we're back to Oku. So it is what it is. Is what it is, I guess. I don't fucking know, man. Quick thoughts about Final Battle. I keep thinking about it when I was watching the show, and I think you nailed it. A lot of the show just feels like a show. I think you said to me that this felt like a TNA show, and it's very much accurate. There are things on here that I thought were really good. There are things on here that I thought were not good at all. And then there were things on here that were just middle of the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was very TNA. Not a good show for the most part. Just nothing progressed.
Can we talk about? Okay, so let's talk about the main event. We can talk about Jericho, Matt Cardona.
I didn't watch it. I couldn't get myself to do it.
Cage Match has it as a 2.85. I think that's way too low. I think that's like aggressively low. I think it was like totally fine. I think it went like 2.5 or something like that. Maybe less, maybe 2. It's not 2.85. It's not a 1-star match. The wrestling was fine. It's just what it is. But the main event, 25 minutes, and Athena wins again. Like, we talked about this in our year-end stuff, and we talked about in our previews and everything for these matches, and I was just sort of like thinking about it as well after watching this main event and just being like, man, Athena and all this shit has jumped the shark so badly. They jumped the shark last year, and here we are a year later, and it's this same exact finish. Like, the one thing that you and everyone agreed was great in 2023 was Athena. 2024, some people were less that on that board. Some people are still on that board. That's why I think they jumped the shark a little bit last year. Here they are, main event again, same exact finish. I am officially don't give a shit about Billy Starks. I officially don't give a shit about Athena. They have now officially received go away heat. I am not going to seek out anything. I don't care. I think Billy Starks has officially getting overrated at this point. Obviously, she had that little bit of that tag in the Indies, but at this point, I don't care. I think she's progressed a lot in Ring of Honor, but I don't think she's progressed since I've seen her in the past couple of years, the past year. And Athena, who gives a shit anymore? Why should I care about Athena? Legitimately, why should I care about Athena? Upsetting watch, upsetting main event finish. Great, go on to the Tokyo Dome, go wrestle in a Stardom show. It's great. I mean, Connor Houston, simply TK booking. I think what it is, not more so than the TK booking. I think Athena's trapped in Ring of Honor looking for a TV deal, and Tony Khan really wants her to have the title. He wants to take the title off Athena and put it on Billy Starks, but he can't do that while the TV deal is in progress. So we just have to live in this world that just sucks ass for the entire time until we do something new.
It's like running on a hamster wheel.
It's so running on a hamster wheel, and it's so dumb and boring that I'm just like, I just can't. I just can't anymore. It killed the very few interest I had in Ring of Honor. It wasn't the Jericho Cardona match. It was this match. This match killed it for me. I'm very upset about it.
I think that Ring of Honor is such a non-entity now, and I have no interest in the show whatsoever.
And the promotion.
I watched this pay-per-view. And I said, if the pay-per-views aren't good anymore, then I really don't care. And there's nothing driving me to come back next time around because I don't think they're going to dramatically pivot away from where they are right now.
So in our year-in review, we gave it the green light. For Ring of Honor, and I think this both killed us. Like, we gave it the green light because of the 3 pay-per-views a year. I was like, yeah, why not cover it? Should we just not cover it? Should we do an addendum and just be like, I don't think neither of us. I think I'm at the point now where it's like I don't necessarily am interested in covering Ring of Honor until they get like a TV deal.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't care. It's not like I have to worry about it much. 3 shows a year isn't like
I know
a lot to worry about, you know. We'll see where if they don't have a TV deal by the next pay-per-view, then yeah, I don't have to.
Well, we can discuss it again, but
yeah,
I don't care. I'm ready to hand wave Ring of Honor fully.
I watched this show and I was like, who would give this company a TV deal? I was like, who would want this? I was like, if you want slop, that's elsewhere. Like TNA is right there, man.
Well, at least they have a TV deal. They're just owned by the company that gives
and a
them
roster.
Uh-huh.
Well, they have a different roster.
I don't know about a roster. They lost a shit ton of people in the new year.
Yeah, I might want to take that one back. Anyways.
But don't worry, they signed Tessa Blanchard and re-signed AJ Francis. So don't worry about the roster, Scotty. Good things coming. Good thing comes for those that wait, I guess. Yeah, but I'm ready to hand wave Ring of Honor fully. It's who cares? Who cares anymore? Like, I truly don't care anymore about this company, and it sucks because you and I were waving that
it's not
flag.
A company, so
yeah, well, that's a big.
There you go.
But you and I were waving that Ring of Honor flag early days of Ring Post Radio. Feel like this promotion rules. No one's watching it, but it's great. The lucha stylings were great. You and I were just big Ring of Honor fans, and now here we are, just being like, I think we're very so close. It's getting a big old doom out of us.
It sucks.
Yeah. All right, let's.
I just want to say this one thing about Athena. When she won, my eyes rolled so far back. I was like, you have to be joking. Yeah. Like, what is. And the match wasn't good either. So, like, ugh.
What do you give them? Do you have your stuff in front of you? What did you give on it?
I don't know. I don't have the old one open anymore.
I gave it a 2.5.
Yeah, that's fair.
If you want me to be controversial, I gave Cardona, Jericho, 2 3/4.
Wow. That's big time. That's crazy.
It really, Athena Billy Starks lost me more stars when it was like, fuck this finish, fuck this promotion, fuck this. It killed anything I had for this company. Anyways, well, let's close up the doors here on another successful Ring Post Radio. Scotty, give us some plugs. Give us your match of the week as we move into the new year.
Yeah. Had a lot go on lately, which is fun.
I know you got a shit ton of plugs to go for.
Yeah, I got a shit ton of plugs. I'm just trying to get them all in order. The 5-star Joshi Award ballot is now available to vote on. Go on Blue Sky, go on Twitter. It is posted on both. We have well over 100 votes already in one day, which is amazing to see.
I voted.
The Joshi fans have come out, which is great. I'm not telling you who to vote for, but if you don't vote for Sari, your vote won't count. No, just kidding. I'm just kidding. Kind of, not really. But yeah, go vote for that. The ballot is out. If you need a link, just message me. It's very easy for me to send a link. That closes on January 5th. So I will take all the results from until the end of January 5th, do a little award show. That'll be up on January 6th. The next time we go live, by the way, here on Ring Post Radio, they'll be up at 12 p.m. Eastern that day announcing the awards. It'll be a fun little special, like probably 10-minute video, but I'll talk about like what each did through the year of the winners and so on, kind of celebrate them. So something to look forward to there. They'll be on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/@ScottEatWrestling. What else? This Friday, going live on the Fight Game Media Network YouTube channel for the Marigold First Dream 2025 review, 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. So go on during the day because I don't feel like doing it at night.
You want some sort of live audience?
Well, that and I to be fair, thinking to the people, that night is TJPW has a show at 9 p.m. Eastern, and then Wrestle Kingdom's obviously on. So we'd like to get the people before they, if they're going to watch Wrestle Kingdom or something, they go to sleep early or whatever. So we're going to do it during the day, 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Should be a lot of fun. I'll have some guests on. We'll talk about it. Should be a great show. Speaking of that show, I did have an interview come up today with Seiri Yamaoka, the debuting rookie on that show. She talked about who she is modeling her style after. Breaking news, Chihiro Hashimoto and Io Sky are the two she's looking at. So pretty good picks, I'd say. She talks about training. She talks about the pressure she's facing, all that good stuff. That's over on Fightful.com. I think that is it. I mean, I put out my own like little personal awards newsletter, but I do that literally just so I can keep track of my year in review, like my personal one. So yeah, those are all my plugs. Join me on Friday, and then like I said, me and Ryan will be back on Monday to review Queendom Dynasty. Oh my god, I'm gonna watch so much wrestling. Sorry, that was a real life realization.
Yes.
My apologies.
Yeah, we are going to be back here on Monday discussing Marigold First Dream, Stardom New Year Dream, maybe a little bit, maybe the main event but probably that's it. But at the very least, Wrestle Kingdom 19 and Wrestle Dynasty. We'll be discussing all three of those shows on Monday and discussing, I guess, whatever happens else in the world of pro wrestling. I also just realized, and maybe we can preview Monday Night Raw. Maybe we got to do that, Scotty.
Oh yeah, we should probably do that. That's
preview
kind of
Monday Night Raw on Netflix. So I guess we'll talk about that on Monday, the 6th. So definitely storm our podcasting platforms. I am your host, Ryan Nicey. That's Scotty Edwards. Follow at Count Out Pod for all the Count Out Network stuff. We are currently working on an awards program that is a sort of a exclusive secret ballot that has gone out to various contributors, both podcasters, guests, various people that we've worked with in the past. So a secret ballot has been going out to all of those people, exclusively to those people. Votes are slowly coming in. The votes don't get cut off, I believe, until the 6th. So we won't necessarily have the results there then. I believe there'll be a separate show for all those results. But at the very least, we are working on a year-end award show there. So definitely stay tuned for that. I'm going to have the first episode of the ballot hitting the main feeds on January 8th. So this time next week, the first episode of the ballot talking about Ted Boy Marino will be out. Other things. Patreon.com/pod. First episode of Hustle Loyalty Retrospect will be coming out later this month. That's all I can remember off the top of my head. My throat hurts significantly. Match of the week. I did say I squeezed in NXT Deadline for whatever reason because I wanted to catch up, and I'll do shout out the main event, which was the NXT Women's Iron Survivor Challenge match. Stephanie Vauquer, Julia Zarya, Sol Ruka, and Ren Sinclair. When you get that many really good wrestlers in a ring, of course you're gonna have a really good match. And I think that's pretty much it. Scotty, you're reacting strongly to something off screen.
Sorry. I'm looking at my awards for the first time. I can't believe people thought like some of these like in the comments like, oh, this award's probably gonna be like a dog fight. Like I don't have to ask for people to vote. I'll just give a split.
Yeah.
My god, it is. I mean, I'm still gonna push it because I want to get this well over 200. Get a lot of fans in, and I'll DM some people if I don't know if they vote or whatnot. But we're at a good number after day one, so very, very cool. But sorry, I had a reaction because I was looking at results, and awards are always fun. Let's just say that awards are always fun because it gives you a good idea of who's following and whatnot. So
yeah, this award program is very interesting. We'll go and more talk about it maybe next week when we have the results start coming in. But I really like what we put together, Scotty, and it's fascinating to see these results. There are definitely like
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it's fascinating. We'll talk about it. We'll go through all the stats.
Are we gonna announce them on here?
No, I think we'll do a separate show. I think we should do a separate show just to keep it separated. Cool. But it is truly fascinating to look at. And I can't wait. I can't wait legitimately to discuss it. So, but those ballots are still getting sent back to me. So, we'll see. So we'll see if we can get all of them by next week. So I think that's it. We'll be back on Monday for more Ring Post Radio. And until next time, thank you everybody for listening. Subscribe to the podcast wherever you get the audio. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit that bell. Do all the other bullshit.
I can't wait to talk Wrestle Kingdom.
I can't wait either. So we'll see you next week. Goodbye, everybody.